can't possibly script something like this.
Laos Fly.
Join us on a daily live adventure into the heart of the African wild right here on Wild Earth.
Those sounds just go straight through you.
Expert guides search for the captivating animal characters of Africa.
Baby pangolin, guys, is off the charts. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
You can ask us questions in real time using #WildEarth on Twitter. Join us for 2 live shows every single day only on Wild Earth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jumbo, 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 everyone. Another very good morning and welcome to Masai Mara. And this is your live safari. Jumbo, jumbo, everyone. Another very beautiful morning after the long rains. It is finally nice and calm here in the Masai Mara. We are in a Mara Triangle. Today, it's a nice and cool. Temperature is around 18 degrees Celsius, which is around 64 Fahrenheit. So perfect for game driving. Remember to talk to us on #WildEarth. Send in your kids' question at Wild Earth TV, also at FC. And shortly, I will be joined by my colleagues from, different places in Africa. Jumbo, jumbo, my name is Isaac, and on camera I have Bungei. Today our mission is to find Bahati. The last time, we saw her, so the mother and her was around this area. So I've come to see if we could find her. If not, I will continue to look for more lions that are around this area. Hopefully I can find the 3 new males that came in. But to start with, I have the tall one. And there are quite a good number of them in those trees, believe me. I saw them go in there, but thank you to that guy who has decided to come out and really show himself. Thank you, sir. Yeah, there is another one just behind him. You see that? Okay, and there's another one behind there. Now you can believe me, there are quite a good number of them there. This is the Masai Giraffe, and they are doing very well, in this part of the Mara. The Masai Giraffe is our tallest one here in the Mara and also in Africa, standing at almost 19 feet, 18, 19 feet, can weigh up to almost 1,800 kilos. And this is an animal that is a pure browser. Yes, it's a herbivore, but pure browser, feeds on leaves. Over there, it's feeding on a specific kind of tree called the orange-leafed croton. The orange-leaf croton, it's sort of a mint, has a flaky, bark. Leaves. The leaves on the back of the leaves, they're flaky, and so not very good for humans. If you shake them, they might get into your eyes, but the giraffes love them. Also, it's a hardwood. It's used by the local communities, the Masai, the Kisii, and the Kalenjin, to build their local houses because it is termite resistant. But here looks like the giraffe is enjoying the orange-leafed croton. They're all over there. That's the bush there. You see it bending to eat it. Of course, the name orange comes from its leaves. When they dry up, they turn to orange. Consulting Detective Jumbo. That is a very handsome giraffe. Yes, he is. He's a handsome one. I cannot complain. Yeah, look at the pattern. Very much like giraffe, like a zebra, like fingerprints. Giraffes have got different patterns. And the Masai Giraffe, which is the one you see here, has got that kind of pattern. We call it, it looks like a jigsaw puzzle or patches, something like that. Giraffes have got amazing eyesight, and if you look into their face, they are adapted to eating, trees and leaves. Look at their pointed mouth with prehensile lips, able to get into the bushes. So Nwabile, Jambo, how tall can the giraffes grow? Yeah, the tallest one, the recorded was 18 feet. And, in addition to the 18 feet, it can stretch its neck upwards. It's got an, adapted vertebra behind its neck that it's able almost to stretch its neck another 180 degrees, so it adds a few feet, and then the tongue is almost 18 inches, so total it can be up to around 21 feet at when it stretches everything. But height wise, to the head, to the top of the horns, it's about 18 feet. That is very tall. It's almost 6-point-something meters. Did you see that? He used the right leg to, step on a certain bush so he could reach the others. I don't know if you saw that, but he did. When stretching downwards, giraffes have got some of the shortest necks. Look at that. They have to splay their legs wide apart to be able to go down. But standing up, they look like they have a very tall neck so that they can reach, amazing heights. But coming down, they have to splay their legs also to reach down. Makes them really, really vulnerable, especially when they're drinking or eating. Remember, giraffes, to supplement their diet, they have been known to eat bones of dead carcasses. I have seen that. That is to obtain calcium. So every now and then they do change their diet from, the browse, the bushes. Look at that. It's picked up a very big one. Look at that. Hello. So they do eat certain bones of dead carcasses. And looks like he's really enjoying that a little. Oh, maybe there was a bird or something behind its neck. That's why it did that. Yeah, there are quite a few. If you look behind those bushes, you might get to see some more, but they're quite a good number. They went in there, like 10 of them, just before we started the show. There we are, another one to the left. Yeah, they always do that. Just before the show, there were quite many. They go in what we call a tower or a journey of giraffe, and they can be up to around 25. I have seen 75 together, but here in the triangle, I have seen 25. They're very common. Okay, I'll take you to another location and see, what's there.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve, to your live safari from the African wilderness. And as we're sitting this morning in this kind of very beautiful sun shining already, and our temperature today, we're sitting on 19 degrees, 66 Fahrenheit. I think it's going to be maybe slightly hot today. It's quite nice and bright. As you can see, we're trying to visit it this morning. Our beautiful oriole, black-headed oriole, still sitting on a nest, and don't think it's going to go anywhere. So my name's Andrew this morning, and then I have Morgan on camera. So we're planning to take you on morning safari, and this is how we're going to be doing it from here, checking the northern boundary, pretty much hoping for the pride of lions, if they ever cross south at all. I know yesterday it was a beautiful herd of buffalo was moving just slightly to the western side of them, where I believe they actually pushed too much on a hunt in this buffalo. It happened, they succeed or not. But then we're going to find out, we're going to get to their tracks, track them just to see how far they've gone. And of course, there's an audio of a male lion, I think, was calling south from the camp. And Tristan is going to be checking around in the area, hopefully get right. Also, was a possible of an audio of a leopard as well. And the guys are busy following up. So we're kind of a bit spread around. So I'm sure we'll get lucky, one of us. And this nest of this black-headed oriole, very well camouflaged, and as you can see, it's actually very even hard for us to go through there. All you see just a bit of a yellow tail sticking out to the right hand side. It's not even clear look from this position, but they're going to do that for their best of survive from bird of prey. Hasn't have to spot that, or even sometimes those genet, also the night kind of like everyday type of animals hunter. Once they spot that nest, that bird is going to be killed. Otherwise, the eggs also are going to be killed or eaten. Snakes as well would play their own success to get into that height of that tree, bomb slungs, and of course that bird will be probably losing the chance of incubation that's taking place in there. So probably that it's a female, usually males, sometimes around, and then that bird will be able to spend times in a nest just to make sure there's incubation take place probably very well. And the male will come around, check, but they're kind of a very much noisy bird sometimes. Oriole, they make such a beautiful calls. But some of the calls sometimes they can indicate if it's too much or it's going to be hot in the day. And then you first things hear them. And these hippos as well. So doves, kind of like instrumental going on around you, then you know it's going to be scorched a day. For sure. Going to prepare your umbrella. So you mainly find them a very shy bird. So like with this one, because it's on his nest, but it can't even see the beak or head at all. And they're very shy birds. They are flighty every time you see them. They're kind of a yellow with a black head, but the rest of the body, it's bright yellows, and their wings as well. Morning. So you want to know how many birds do we have in Djuma? So the entire whole Sabi-Sands attached to Kruger National Park. So it's kind of the same thing. So it's anything nearly 500 species of birds, different species, but also that including migration bird of prey, these storks, so owls, and also tiny finches, and also orioles and the doves, Egyptian geezes. Yeah, it's quite a lot of them. And this is actually a good time of the year where you aim for migration bird, able to see red-backed sharks as well will come in, as well as European rollers also will return in, and already seen a lot of warbags came in already. And the tawny eagle have been sitting around here, resident for us all year round. Those that then seems to be go far. Even in the winter, we got to see them. And lesser spotted eagle will come in. They were probably already in this area. You know, so it's quite a few birds, a lot of birds. Birds are one of the species that, you know, when you look for them, sometimes you aim to a water hole during a breeze day, and that's where you often see them go down to drink, because they don't fly far from the water at all, even though they're not actually water birds, but they have to drink quite a lot continuously. And some birds, unbelievable that you find they are territorial, and they come to very same spot every year. They come around. Even those eagles, that the migration as well, Some are, they're traveling pair for life. And every time they come around, for example, Warbeck's eagle, they come to a very specific area because they breed here. And every time they visit it, their nest, it's going to be all messed because of the last season they were out and they were away. And they're so incredible birds that they also remember exactly where they were. The last season they will come back to the very same spot, and you'll see them patching on that very same tree that they wet last year, and then they're just gonna carry on, do kind of like a work a bit, pick up some sticks, wood, repair the nest before the nesting take place. I think I can see a little bit of its beak. This bird, just a ton of it, just to the slightly left top of that crosswood, that nest attaching to it. But just a beak. If you listen now, you could hear the male calling from the way distance. Not that. That whoop through. Yeah, stop. So yeah, he's probably around here. I don't think he's gonna go far away. The female, she's around. Indeed, it's so beautiful, especially this type of in the morning. You will love the bush this way. It's how most of us, we get hooked with the love of the bush because of all the instrumental of birds, especially during the day, early morning like this. It's very pretty, where you listen to more sound. Most of the animals or birds, first thing they do before they move far away, they have to communicate, even though they sleep far apart. Those are not territorial. Also, those are territorial. It's so cool that when they get a mobile or get to hunt, they have to communicate, also advertise their own territory, so that there's other birds mustn't, especially the same species of bird, mustn't come across an area where it's taken already. Understanding these territorial things on birds, even on animals. So it's nothing about the food. It's more about the women. It's more about the females that dominate. Especially comes strictly territorial. Those are pair for life sometimes, where you only see them all the time, two of them, male and females. And you find when they raise their baby, those are migration. They come in and breed here and raise their baby. Just before they fly back, their baby will be able to fly back with them, but then they'll be independent out there while they arrive home. So I'm going to continue, do my check around in his northern boundary, hoping for the lions. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be taking you over another live safari.
All over the place. So while there's the Talamatis up north, we're following tracks for what looks like a male lion, as well as some of the members of the Nkuhuma pride. Looks like all the youngsters with at least one female moving around. So just doing a little bit of a loop here. I know it's going to that I'm following lion tracks. Anyway, my name is Tristan. On camera I've got Theo this morning, and like I say, we're just going to try and see if we can find these guys. They seem like they are fairly kind of mobile. We heard him calling earlier, and we've checked a little bit further north of where I am now, and there's no tracks. So these tracks that we're on now must be the ones that we need to follow in order to find. I'm sure he hasn't gone too far from here. I'm hoping we'll pick him up somewhere. Maybe he's lying down near one of the pans, or is still on the road walking. Maybe he heard the furore about the buffalo up in the and is what's going on. Or he's trying to find the Nkuhumas. I'd imagine it's one of the Avoca males that is walking here. So we'll just try and figure out where he's gone. Now, I'll try and see if I can show you a track. I did have them just now. So let me try and find a clearer one than the ones that I've got here. These are quite tricky to see. I don't know if maybe we can see there's one there. That it'll be easier to kind of notice. So it's quite simple with male lions, is that their track is just that much bigger than anything else. You really can't confuse it with anything. So if you have a look, here's the track. So the back of the pad is this area here, and then the toes coming forward. So if I put my hand there, it's almost the same size as my hand, and this is not a huge male lion. I've seen tracks that are bigger than this before, so they're quite easy tracks to follow in comparison to a small little leopard female that is kind of half the size. So I'm sure we will find these guys, or this guy, somewhere nearby here. Like I say, he was calling just before we started drive, and it sounded like somewhere where we are now, so I'm hoping we will find him somewhere in this immediate vicinity.
Good morning and welcome to Tswalo Kalahari. We've got a golden-tailed woodpecker there, hard at work, already hard this morning. Obviously, like they say, the earliest bird catches the worm, and you can see how he's been working there. My name here is Obakeng. Behind the camera, we've got Dave doing a very good job there. Let's see what this guy progresses to do. Looks like excavating a new hole there. You can see right above it, there's an older hole that he's excavated there. So obviously enjoying this tree, and this tree must have been providing for him. But listen to that. But what gets me is, for a bird to be able to use just the bill and perk like that and not even get a concussion, that's incredible. And all in the design of how the head and the bill are attached. So you find almost like a cartilage linking the bill and the head, and it makes this impact as they knob the head like that, and that's why they don't get a concussion. But that bill also must be so hard for it to actually get those shavings and groovings out of the tree like that. Look at how the foot structure also, very interesting. Everything just designed for them to be able to do that. Everything adaptive. Construction helmet, as some of them refer to it. Safety comes first, and Mother Nature has provided that for these guys. Look at that gold on the tail, and obviously you can understand why they called the golden-tailed woodpecker. You can just see it with the angle there. Dave giving us a very good angle there. Well done, Dave. And such holes prove very important here in the Kalahari. Once they get abundant, there's a handful of species that would actually use these holes for nesting. Other bird species, snakes, and so forth would actually use those.
So there's already 3, it looks like, that he's kind of poked around there. Obviously, the second one, or the one to his left there, not as well developed. Must have been a bit of a hardy area there, and left it to move to the next area. Dajan, does the bird's beak wear down? Indeed it will, but also remember with these kind of birds, with growth, the beak will also strengthen. So yes, it does wear down, but it does not completely come off, because it's an adaptation for the bird's survival to do what it's doing. So if you took any other bird's bill and tried doing this, it would probably break off, just because of the design is not meant for work like this. So yes, different bills have different adaptations. So if, for example, you take a bill for a bird of prey, it would be very sharp at the end and almost be hooked, just for shedding and tearing skin, whereas for them it looks like a chisel almost, and giving them that ability to actually chip off. And actually, with the wind blowing a little bit here and there, you can actually see the chips coming off. Look at that, chips coming off. See, so that's how they would achieve that. Whereas with other birds, bills are different, and made for that purposes. I mean, if you look at your seed eaters, for example, they'll have a short, stubby, hard bill so that they can crack onto the seeds. So every bill would be designed in a different way. Things like your eagles, for example, that would actually lose the whole beak itself every couple of years, and get a new one because they need that sharp tearing point. So yes, a very good question indeed there. Cantrell, is this woodpecker specifically looking for food or making a nest? In most cases, excavation like that would start with
all right, here we have our biggest animal here in the Mara, and also in Africa, and also the biggest land mammal. And looks like, they're on a mission. They have those tiny little ones. Look at them. Always nice to see them. And they don't like the birds, so they don't know which side to go. Always cute to look at them, with excitement. What are these? We're under attack. Yes, they're always, cute to watch, see them play, get excited by the birds. You can tell that the cattle egrets are really, really hungry. They just woke up with an appetite. Maybe the rain yesterday stopped them from eating because it was raining, so now it's time to catch up with the much needed breakfast. They're eating all the disturbed insects on the grass, and the little guys are not quite sure what to make of the birds, the cattle egrets. They do no harm. In fact, they are a benefit to the elephants, because if there are ticks on the ground that would have, get attached to the skin, they would have, they would eat them. So it's a symbiosis that really, really works. This is a nice breeding herd, and looks like they're on a mission to get to the plains, maybe feed on certain kind of grass. The little guys have started eating. Usually at around 2 months, they will start feeding. Oh, what is he reaching for? Look at that. Yeah. Sometimes they do take food off their mother's mouth, and that could be also, they could be learning what grass, what shrub is good to eat by smelling it, and that quickly, it's automatic. They learn that it's edible, and the rest of their life, they will be looking for it when they get to certain areas. That's just a beautiful scene there set by nature. Look at that. Just beautiful. Egrets and elephants all enjoying a bit of grass. I think the matriarch just told them, relax. It's a good spot to start, to stop. I would say she's the one ahead, the one, way up. She's the matriarch. I will repeat again that I think the Mara Triangle has become a safe haven, a good place to drop their calves, and so we are seeing an influx, and a huge amount of young ones are evident that they feel confident to give birth here. Elephants are intelligent, smart, and they can pick up, certain things like safety, which is paramount to their life. And so, we have been seeing lots and lots of young ones. So that female there lacks tusks. Of course, being intelligent and smart, elephant over a period of about 30 years when they were really, really hit hard by poaching and illegal trade, learned that the only solution is to not grow the tusks. And it has happened, so we do see some elephants every now and then that lack tusks. Some of them, the whole herd, which is a pity because without tusks, there are minerals or nutrients that they won't get, because tusks play a big role in getting those nutrients, maybe either from a certain bark of a tree, soils. There are medicinal trees that, are found everywhere here, and they know that, so they eat them, and without the tusks, then they won't get those nutrients and medicinal values, so they end up being either too small. Looks like he's picked up some soil, thrown it onto the body. Look at that. He's going to use the foot. Yeah, the trunk. Look at that. See how useful the trunk is. Yeah, a tool of many uses to the elephant. It is a hand, it's a nose, it's a tongue, it's a snorkel, it's everything to them. It's a weapon. Yeah, so it's a very useful trunk. So, without the tusks, they don't grow to be as big because they lack certain nutrients. Looks like they have stopped once again. That spot looks like there is a certain, kind of grass that they love. Observing them, you can tell that they don't just pick up any grass. Of course, being here, you learn that. They stop at a certain spot and the grass is tasty. They will stop for a few minutes and then move on. But always with a mission, and the main mastermind of this mission, usually it's the matriarch, who is the oldest and the super smart. Rusticated charm, Jumbo. How common is tuskless elephants? Well, I must say, how do I put it? They're not common. We have, I think, about 2 herds. Oh, look at that. The little guy is chasing a hyena, and they have all joined in. Yeah. There is a certain kind of trumpet that, or vocalization, when a young one makes it, everybody usually heads towards him or her, and usually I say it means that I need backup, and they all head there, and they show lots of concern when they arrive there. They will face different direction and putting the young one in the middle. So, tuskless elephants, we have them. There is, in fact, one herd that has got no tusks at all here in the Mara. They have only one female that's got tusks. The rest don't have. So I would say they are common in certain places. Here in the Mara, they are common. We do see them every now and then, which is a pity. But it was, I would say a survival mechanism that the elephant picked up. And realized they needed to do that. Yeah, let's look at the cattle egrets. They're just everywhere on that spot there. The cattle egrets is a bird that we will also find close to water because they will feed on worms and other creepy crawlies that are found, near swamps. But here, it's taking full advantage of everything that's been disturbed by the elephants. Just a beautiful sight. Remember to talk to us. #WildEarth. Question, comments are very, very welcome. Yeah, we're coming to you live from different locations, and I'm here in the Masai Mara. The Mara Triangle. Yeah, looks like there. You can tell the pose, the walk. You can tell that it is a very relaxed walk. Yeah, you just envy them, how they get relaxed, stop, and then decide, okay, let's move on. I just, envy them. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. Goodbye, but it's not goodbye from me, but to the from the elephants. And let's take you to another location.
So, as you can see, we found him. It didn't take too long to find him this morning. We found, where we saw the tracks just now, it was maybe another 20 meters, 30 meters up the road. He was just lying off in the bush, and he's calling now because Darkmane has just called from where the Telematis are, and so he's just shouting back at him. He was passed out, completely asleep, and then as soon as Darkmane started to call, so did he, and I'm hoping he's going to do it again at some point. He won't be right now, but hopefully Darkmane responds in the near future, and then he'll go again. I don't expect him, though, to be calling in the next sort of 10, 15 minutes. Often with male lions like this is just kind of call and then flop back down. We know that the last time he called was almost an hour ago, so it can be quite infrequent, but he's responding to one of his coalition members. That's why he just plopped up and started roaring now. Prior to that, he was, like I say, completely flat and fast asleep. He really wasn't interested in too much, and I'm sure it's going to happen again. It's going to be a hot day today, so I wouldn't be surprised he goes back down again. Anyway, we'll sit with him for a little bit. We'll see if he starts to roar again. Hopefully he will.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. We've just managed to find these cheetah this morning, and they are in a very, very playful mood. So my name is Grant, and behind the camera this morning is Gert, and yeah, we've come out to see if we could try and find these cheetah this morning, and we've gotten here just in time. They're starting to get very active. So I'm just going to move out the way. So we came to have a look where they were last seen, which was yesterday morning, I think, and they haven't moved very far. Oh, that was a proper takedown. And so they ate last about 2 3 days ago, and so their tummies are now finally starting to get a little bit empty. They're ganging up on Mom. Some sneezes. How awesome is that athleticism that they're showing us? You see the jumping, and just as you joined us, you saw how they went full speed. So they're really showing off this morning, and the two youngsters are using all their energy at the moment, playing and learning how to chase each other and tackle each other. Mom gets involved every now and then because she simply can't help herself, I think. But she will need to be conserving her energy a little bit more for later on, when she might start looking to hunt. So as I mentioned, about 3 days ago they ate, and so their tummies are starting to look a little bit empty, and so Mom will be considering having to hunt fairly soon. They have just been resting for the last couple of days, digesting that meal. The cubs playing like they are now, playing and resting throughout the day. Mom definitely conserving her energy for when she has to hunt again. Something just gave this little one a fright. He sat bolt upright and looked in that little thicket behind him, but I don't think it was anything for him to worry about. Look at that face. That is a naughty face if I've ever seen one. But just beautiful condition, eh? Look at those black characteristic tear marks. Oh, that's an interesting question coming in from Sassy Brat, and she was asking why the predators don't attack the game rangers. And well, Sassy Cat, that's just because of years and years of these animals, these predators, and all the other wild animals out here being used to our game drive cars being around them. And so initially, in the very early days, they would have actually been afraid of the cars because it's a big, green, noisy, scary object coming towards them, and so they actually would have run away in the early days. And then slowly, through time and being very sensitive to their body language, so if they show any signs of being afraid or wanting to move away, then just sort of gradually introducing them to the vehicles, and then they stopped running away. There are still some very I suppose there would be younger animals that are still quite afraid of the vehicle, so actually tend to run away when we get anywhere near them. But it's because also we stay in the car when we're around the predators. If you had to get out in certain situations when you're when you're close to the predators, then you might be attacked. But if we stay in the car, we have no chance. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say no chance, but very little chance of being attacked. The animals are very used to us speaking and sitting and moving around in the vehicle, just so long as we don't stand up. If we stand up in the car, sometimes it tends to scare them away again because it's something that they're not used to. But yeah, just to briefly answer your question, it's just because of years and years and years of getting them used to the cars being around them. So Ati is asking if the mother cheetah will take them on hunts with her, and she definitely will. So the reason why I said earlier that the cubs are focusing all their energy on chasing each other and practicing their catching and taking down of one another to sort of simulate when they have to try and catch prey, is because that is their main focus for now, learning and practicing those skills. But at this age already, they are definitely following mom when she goes hunting. So in the early stages of their lives, mom would have just through her body language, and she might have had a very subtle sort of contact sound that she would have made to the cubs to tell them to stay where they are, and then she would go and hunt. But they would be able to tell also just from her body language that she was hunting and she wasn't just walking. If she was just walking, they would follow her when they were younger. But at this stage of their lives, they're around about 8 months old now. They are fully capable of taking down small prey. They are powerful enough and fast enough for sure. And so they will be following mom, and they will actually, especially when they're getting very hungry, they will actually be over-eager and actually ruin quite a few hunts. So it becomes quite a tricky phase in their lives now when they are following mom. But they're fully capable. I mean, I've seen cheetah of similar age, excuse me, hunting with mom, and they were all stalking together, and they had seen a little herd of inyalas in a thicket, and mom was leading the hunt, and the cubs were sort of just sticking on her flanks and making sure that they weren't seen. And when mom did give chase, the inyalas all scattered, and as the cheetahs all ran in, one of the youngsters was actually lucky enough for an inyala to run across the front of it, and it chased that inyala and caught it, and mom was unsuccessful. And so that little cub at 8 or 9 months old actually provided for its siblings and its mom on that day. But and I'm sure it happens more frequently. It's just that was the one time that I was lucky enough to see it. So yeah, Ati, they definitely are following mom on the hunt now. She doesn't necessarily take them with and give them some kind of signal and say, come, we're going hunting. She will just start moving, and they will just follow her. But yeah, for now they are taking a bit of a breather. You can see they're panting, especially the little cubs are panting, and so. But I do think that their games may continue. So we're gonna stick here for a little bit and send you off to another location now.
Oh, well done there, Grant, with your cheetah story. Here we've got a mother and 2 cubs. Well, I wouldn't really call them cubs anymore. I mean, these guys, I would say, sub-adult. They almost the same size as the mother now. 3 of them there in the distance. There's a third one there. It looks like these guys have been busy all night, and I know that sounds a little bit creepy when I say all night, because they're known to be crepuscular animals or diurnal animals, meaning active just before the sun goes down most of the day and in the morning. But it's been full moon, or almost full moon, if I can say that. The moon is still filling, so they took advantage of that, obviously, with the light condition at night. So still this morning looks like they're still on the mission looking for something. So let's see where they take us, because they've been moving and stopping, listening, and so on. Wind is in their favor. They seem to be heading into the wind as they start moving and stopping, and moving and stopping every now and then. So it's going to be interesting to see. I hope, like my colleague said, seeing a cub take a kill. Maybe it's my turn today with these guys. And there comes the third one, just behind the bushes there. A bit of interaction there. Looks like the third cub is also going to be moving towards them. Not really. I think I'm going to try reposition a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of interest. Let's see what they do. A bit of a toilet break there. That's always a good sign. Linda, are these youngsters old enough to go on a hunt with the mother? Yes. Definitely old enough. I mean, if you look at the size, they almost stand shoulder to shoulder with the mother. So at this point, they should be learning or learned at least once or twice how to actually deal with prey. So they're still learning, but old enough to actually accompany in the hunt. Mother at times might use them as a decoy because they're still inexperienced. So using them in a decoy would mean let them show themselves or spook whatever prey, and then mother would come from the flanks with a surprise element to the prey that they would be trying to take down. And part of learning how or teaching how to actually deal with prey would be mother actually taking down a live prey and not actually killing it completely, but just paralyzing it, like breaking a limb or something like that, or just pinning it down and let these youngsters come and feel while the animal is actually still alive. And that's how they would get a real feel of how to deal with live prey. It might be something small, it might be even like a scrub hare or something like that, but then that's the intro to actually learning how to kill, and then it will start going to bigger animals like your antelope, springbok being a classic example, impala, steenbok. Those are the sizes of animals these animals would really go for. Also, given the speed, I mean, that is their biggest advantage. These guys are not ambush predators. They rely solely on their speed, being the fastest land mammals you can imagine. One stride almost at 9 meters, and being able to do 3 of those in a second. That's incredible how quick these guys can be. So still on the move there. I'm going to be still following up and see where they herd. So look at how they just blend in with the camouflage. I mean, Mother Nature is amazing to give these guys such colorations. Guys, while we follow up, I think we'll send you off to another beautiful property in Africa.
Beautiful, yes, indeed. Beautiful cheetahs, especially on their own environment. So this morning when we left that Oriole and we went north from there, since we're very much interested in following in its pride, Talamati pride, but it looks like just one of the female here still feeding on there. Looks like they killed young buffalo last night. As you can see, they are. Or she's still feeding on that bone. Still nothing left really here. The rest of the pride, I think they have moved. the guys follow them there because then it comes two separate lock, and then I have to stick with this one here. And yeah, I don't know if we're able to rotate from there. Depend. We're in Bebelsoek right now. So yeah, it looks like they succeed last night on their hunting. If I were to judge from or estimate from where we last saw them yesterday afternoon, it's not even a kilometer down there. And the buffalo, they were far west from this position where they are right now. So it looks like there was a chance that buffalo maybe move around in and out in this area. So they look hungry yesterday and were pushing too much to get anything they can, which they did right now. So good for the pride. Probably was a dinner, but it's just a remain of the bone, the early breakfast bone, finishing it off there. And the skull was lying on the probably far side. Can able to identify that it was a young buffalo, probably 2 years old, a buffalo, I think. Then maybe it was nothing. Just a little bit of a feed, but they were probably going to hunt again. They're going to take it easy for the whole day, I believe, the whole day today. The female we're looking at, it's a blind eye, kind of blondie beautiful, but blind, and they're probably looking at us now, but on the left-hand side. If she ever look at us, you'll be able to experience the difference looking on their eyes. One is normal, one is kind of like greenery. There it is, slightly. So this is what happened. We saw a lot of hyena coming in and out in this area, and the only two lionesses in this scene. And if these ever hyena come back, there's a chance they would probably group around here. Well, eventually they're probably going to move away these lines because there's a hyena making a lot of noise in the background. You can hear noises like going on in the background. There was a hyena. So they were probably going to move on if the other pride doesn't return back here. Yes, indeed. It's amazing. Just an experience. This crunchy and the hyena in the background. So, Pam, good morning to your beautiful shore. So the other pride, when I got here, was only 3, which the rest of the pride, they say they were going to drink in one of the small water hole, and that was full lock for us. I couldn't join there, so I able to come to these one. Hopefully they return back here, but since there's nothing left, maybe they won't come back. They're probably going to find shade or somewhere lie down, and I'm just going to see what is going to be happening here, because it's also busy sighting. I wish I could stay slightly longer to see what the final happened, whether the rest of the pride return back here or not. Otherwise, it's so cool just to see this female, how she's dealing with all finishing off here. Eventually, when they move off, there's going to be a turn for a hyena to get in. It's the only chance they can get. It's when these lions have moved off. And you see that bone that she's feeding right now, if the hyena get into that single hyena, I promise you it's going to be all chewed off. hyena, their teeth is very strong compared to lions. More. Yes, you want to know if lion can lose a tooth during the chewing. Sometimes they can happen that when they force too much to look at this eye. When they force too much to chew on a very hard bone, they happen sometime there. But a lot of time they lost their teeth during grabbing prey down, such as a buffalo, giraffe, because they use those senses and these very serious sharpening tooth they got. So, and they only have them in their claws, hold up on prey species once they got hold of them. And a lot of time they pull down by using their mouth and claws, and their tooth sometimes can break off from there, because sometimes some animal very harder to be down, for sure. Same with the hyenas, sometimes they can, but then depending on how they deal with this bone. So they always eat, but very carefully. So I'm gonna stay put here one more time while I'm gonna be sending you to another live safari.
Well, from eating hungry lions to one of our tallest stocks. It's called the saddle bill stock, and definitely this one is a male. Look at him. He's got a dark eye. Females have got a yellow eye. Saddle bill stock, very tall. They stand at around almost 1.5 feet. So they're very, very tall. It looks like he's very wary of something. He's feeding and then standing to take a look, make sure nobody is coming close to him. That is the color of the beak. Nature is amazing. Yeah, he's fishing for fish and frogs. That beak is capable of stabbing fish and also holding on to big fishes. And they are found in very freshwater areas, swamps, beaches of lakes. Yeah, they sometimes find them together, sometimes alone. Definitely it must have picked up a fish the way it's very busy poking or, probing in the water, trying to find the fish or the frog. It's the only one here, and it's quite a long way. So definitely it was flying past, then saw something and decided to come down and, investigate. Usually, I find them in more wider water areas, but definitely it has come here before, so it knows, and it's here. Yeah, he's a very tall bird. We see about 2 feet, but it's a very tall bird. I hope it's going to come out so we can see it. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Question and comments are very, very welcome. Yeah, apart from fish, it does feed on insects like grasshoppers, dung beetles, frogs, even baby chicks, of birds. It will feed on them if it can find them. But over here, definitely, I'm sure, it came for frogs and fish, because that area is, there is fish and frogs. Somebody asked me a few days ago if buffaloes do climb hills and mountains. Those are buffalo, and there are so many. They are lying down. They look like little dots. Yes, Cape buffalo, they are resting. You can tell amongst them is cattle egrets, and I'm sure they are waiting for the buffalo to get up, start moving, and so they can have their breakfast. Yes, buffaloes do go up the ridge with ease, without any problems. Yeah, there is always good grass, good grazing there, untouched, very fresh, and so they do go there. And sometimes I find them staying there for too long, We long for them to come down like they are doing right now. They've eaten quite enough and it's time to ruminate, have a rest and enjoy the morning sun. Also there, I would say there is few predators, so it's a perfect spot for them to really take a rest. And remember, those are the Cape buffalo. It's an animal that is found south of equator all the way to southern Africa. You find them, Cape buffalo, and that is a breeding herd. Breeding herd comes in different forms of you might find females, mostly dominant, many females and a few bulls, but this one looks like it's a mixture of bulls, young ones, and females. Those ones back, they are still feeding. You can tell they're much larger, or I can tell they're much larger. Their bosses, that's the middle of the horns, is huge, usually meant to cushion the brain when fighting. And that is typical of the males when they reach maturity. To drag behind, they become too heavy, too slow, and eventually they break off to form what we call a bachelor herd, which consists of only boys. And they are known to be very aggressive. I don't blame them. When they're alone, anything approaching them, it's a threat. So even human, if you approach them, they will come for you without hesitation. Yes, that's definitely a breeding herd, and they are ruminating. Yeah, they're really enjoying the morning. Well, I'll leave you with that sight, and let me take you to another live location.
Welcome back to Ambient, everyone, and we just wanted to give you a little update on what was happening with these cheetah, and there hasn't been too much change. If the only thing that's changed actually is we spotted a tortoise that Gert is busy zooming in on now, and it's just moving in the... He seems to be moving now towards us. He was initially, I don't know where he appeared from, but we all seemed to miss him, and then I just saw him recently facing the other direction, but now he seems to be coming towards the cheetah, which will be quite exciting to see what happens. It is quite a big leopard tortoise, so he's not in any danger from the cheetah, but it will definitely be something that the cubs will take a lot of their attention. Mom, I'm sure, has seen leopard tortoise before, and she knows very well that a leopard tortoise means nothing to her, but the cubs will probably get quite excited, but it's going to take that tortoise coming a lot closer before they notice. The cubs have not really moved at all since you were last with us. They are catching a little bit of a nap after their playtime that they had. I'm always fascinated and mind blown when I see cheetahs sleeping like that with their head up. But of course it is it is an evolutionary adaptation for cheetah's survival, and it ensures, by sleeping with their head up like that, it just ensures that both of their ears are working, so even when their eyes are closed and they're sleeping, and just like that. And you see that bite is going straight onto the neck, practicing how to give that killing bite to the throat. I think myself and Kat are going to stick here for just a little bit longer, see if hopefully they they do interact with one another a little bit more. It's nice and cool and overcast, so Mom might also be waiting for the sun, or for a little bit more sun, so that she can warm up a little bit, and then she might look to hunt. But yeah, we're going to stick here and just see if anything transpires.
Isn't this just cool? So we've got the Nkuhumas, which I think have been on a kill. They've come to fetch all the little ones, and there's much talking and carrying on, because I think the cubs know something's afoot, and that they might just get something to eat. You can see that they are not nearly as full as the mothers, and so they're going up and down all over the place, but I'm sure there's a kill somewhere that the moms have had, and like I say, have come to fetch these guys. Whether it's a big kill, I'm not sure, but watch this, they're all going to come. Listen, listen. Can you hear them all groaning and moaning? They're all very excited. All right, I'm just going to go forward a little bit just to catch up with them, because there's another female that's just arrived. They were all moving away from this area with noses to the floor, but as another individual arrived, so they all went back to that individual, but it's now just a big cuddle pile of lions in front of us. You can see one of the adult females is on her back and being basically rugby tackled by a whole bunch of others that are trying to suckle and all kinds of things. Some of them are a little bit old to be suckling, but look at this. Isn't this cool? Okay, guys. Shame. They must be excited to see all their moms. There's been lots of audio for lions during the night, which is obviously for them nerve-wracking if they're by themselves. So the fact that moms are back is always good. I'm just going to go a little bit further forward just so that we can get the sounds of them talking. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't think there's any food left, though, judging by the way the adults are lying down. I suspect they've finished everything already. And generally you find when there is some of the carcass left, one will come back and fetch them, not all the females. So far I've seen 4 different females that are here. One that's a little bit more grumpy than the others, which is that one lying down over there. There's lots of moaning and complaining going on and greetings. Oh, it's always the best when you get a pride coming together like this. It always makes for the best kind of viewing to see. It's the same as any mother coming back to their little ones. You see it with leopards too. It's just amplified with lions, just purely based off the fact that there's so many of them. Hi guys, are you going to come and walk past us? I suspect that they are. So, Carol, it depends on whether the nicked ear lioness is with them, because she seems to float in and out, but it's 7 adult females and 9 cubs. So it's, I think 9 cubs, yeah. 9 cubs is the last time I saw these guys was a while ago, so I've just got to remember a little bit. In fact, I think the last time I saw the Nkuhumas was probably... I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I know it's terrible to say, but it's true. So I seem to remember 9 cubs, and then 7 females, which makes the 16, and then if the 2 evokers are with them, it makes the pride of 18. I think there might actually be 10 cubs. I'll have to just double check and remember, but I know it's 9 or 10 somewhere there. But it's a big pride. It's a lot of animals. They're going to start getting tougher and tougher for them as these young ones are getting older. Finding food in this area is not the easiest of things when you've got that many mouths to feed, particularly because there's a few young males, and those young males obviously get large quite quickly, and then they start to really kind of attract the attention. Well, they basically eat more than the females can provide, and so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a pride split at some point. Keeping alive this many cubs as well as all the adults certainly is hard work, that's for sure. There's another lioness that's just about to join now. So how many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sure the rest are here. Maybe there's still 2 at the kill. They don't look too bloody. It looks like they've groomed themselves. We know yesterday with Steve that they were hunting giraffe and zebra. So they must have gotten something fairly decent. If you look at the size of their tummies, given that Steve said to me he had all 7 adult lionesses, I suspect that it was a fairly decent meal. So maybe something like a kudu, large kudu, waterbuck, wildebeest. That's kind of roughly what's going on. So it was a successful night all around for the lions, with Telematis on the buffalo kill, and these guys obviously got themselves something too. So they're looking in fantastic condition, and they should be. I mean, they've been gluttons of late, this lot. They've eaten a fully grown bull giraffe, a hippo, and now whatever they ate last night within the space of the last 10 days. So they certainly haven't gone without food, which is really, really good for them. Things are going to get a little bit tougher now as we go into the summer months. And the reason why it gets tougher in the summer months is that these guys obviously hunt things like buffalo is going to be high up on the list of food items for a pride of this size. And that means that the buffalo during the summer point get a lot more nutrition, a lot more food, and therefore their bulk and their weight and their kind of strength is amplified. That coupled with the fact that it's a lot harder for these lions to spot them from greater distances means that finding food is a little bit more tricky in the summer months. But they look fantastic, don't they? Hi, girls. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Very, very long time since I've seen this pride. There's a ridge nose that's coming past us now. Nature love, I wouldn't say a hierarchy, but they certainly will have a size advantage. So the older and bigger they are, generally the more they're going to bully the others, particularly the older males. They just have such a size and weight advantage that for them it's much easier to kind of bully the smaller female cubs. So especially when it comes to kills, you'll find that they, for a lot of it, will pretty much be the dominating force behind the kind of feeding and hierarchy structure within the cubs. But they are moving again. So sorry, that's my head that you've just seen. Apologies for that. Didn't really want you to see my head, but the rest of them will slowly come past as well. So awesome. All right, well, we're going to sit, we'll try and follow them and see where they take us. Maybe we get back to a kill somewhere along the line.
Yeah, quite possibly. The cubs have gone somewhere.
Oh, these cheetahs have just picked up on something, not sure what, very focused in whatever they picked up, slowly moving in that direction. We're just going to give them a gap here and see where they lead us, but see how they just focused on whatever it is that they might have picked up. how they stop and listen. I mean, these guys sometimes would hear things or even see things way beyond what we can see with our naked eye. And it's just another way that ensures that they can actually hunt and know what is around them. So, very good senses there. We'll keep with them and see where they take us. But very, very eminent about this morning and the hunt. Keep following. Glenn, will a cheetah scavenge? In my experience, cheetahs are one of the lowest ranking cats. So if they do find a carcass with something feeding on it, chances are they will never even challenge to scavenge. But if the kill is there and there's no predator there and there's no threat, yes, it's a free meal. And like us humans, a free meal is a good meal. So in that sense, yes, they will grab something. But in terms of challenging others to grab a meal from them, no. Safety always comes first with these animals, in the sense that should they challenge any predator or should they get injured in such confrontations, it means that they cannot fend for themselves. That's to start off with. They cannot hunt for themselves, so they would rather avoid such confrontations. I'm gonna just try keep up with them. It seems like they're increasing distance at a rapid pace. Guys, while we still follow, I'm going to be sending you off to another beautiful location in Africa.
Jambo and welcome to this part of the world, and here I have one of the fastest antelope in these plains, the topi. Topis are migrants. We do get a resident ones, and these I think are residents. This is the time of the year that they give birth, September, October. So we have been seeing lots of young ones like that one you see there. That is the first colors they get. The airborne tawny color, and then slowly they get the blotches. You can tell that he hasn't started getting, so he's about 2 months, I would say. Then he's going to be like the guy way up there. They are grazers and ruminants, so they will graze and then eventually sit and just enjoy utilizing everything that they've eaten. Their speed, increases their survival rate, and so they're rarely hunted. One of their biggest enemies is hyena, believe it or not, and the reason is when they lie down, hyenas are very cheeky. They'll come and pretend to be just passing, and they'll leap and just grab the groin and usually pull out the intestines. That one looks like, it's very, very ready to drop its calf. I wish we could see that, but I would say later on today it is gonna drop it. You can tell it's almost down. It has dropped, so it's ready to give birth maybe later on today. Topi can weigh up to around 150 kilos to 200 and above, and they're always found in different groups of herds, herds of breeding. Like this one here looks like it's a mix, and sometimes the males one here looks like they're very happy eating a lot of grass. I can see a few females that are ready to drop actually. So we will be seeing lots of young ones in the next coming days. Of course, we have seen quite a good number, but we will be seeing more. Yeah, during migration, yeah, you can see up to 20,000 of these guys. Always we have resident ones, and I think this could be some resident ones. They stick around. They have a tendency to go on top of mounds and to pretend to be the self-proclaimed watchmen, watch over everybody. With their good eyesight, they can detect danger from long distances, and they have a alarming snort that they make, which alerts everybody, and usually there's nothing like a joke. When that goes, everybody knows that there is danger lurking. That's a beautiful. You're seeing there. Yeah, actually 3 young ones. Yeah, remember to talk to us on #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. Yeah. Enjoying the grass. Must be nice and soft after the rain. They don't need to drink too much now with all the water in the grass. It's just nice. That is the scene that we have here. All these plains a few days ago were full of wildebeest and zebra. I don't know where they've gone to, but they have left the shorter grass to the toppies to utilize it. I can say that these are very good size herd, and it's nice to see that we have more and more being left here. I'm hoping they will stay. It doesn't mean that when I say that, you know, they do leave, that all of them go. We do have a good number of them that, you know, stay behind. But to see this many in this area, central area, it's really, really good. I hope they stay, and I hope, you know, we get more. Okay, I think I'm gonna move. Yeah. Dorothy Ann, Jumbo, do female, you know, toppies stay with the herd when they give birth? Yes, they do. It happens really fast. When they go into labor, they're actually standing, and when you start seeing the small legs coming out, that's when they go down, and it takes a very short time, more than, you know, 20 minutes, and already they give birth. And within 15 minutes, the little guy is standing up. Within half an hour, he's already walking, and within 1 hour, it's able to, catch up with the mom. So it happens very fast, and they need each other. You know, they give birth while the others are around. It's an advantage because it means that if there is danger, they will alert the mother. Sometimes there is nothing they can do if there is danger, but they do give birth with the rest of the herd. I'm gonna continue on, see if I can find some lying down here, but it's such a beautiful scene that we have here. It looks empty, but it's always full of surprises. Okay, as I drive on, let's go to another live location.
Beautiful toppies, also a beautiful antelope to see or watch, especially in that very open area. So we come to relocate whole pride over here from that Talamatis. And since these are the whole pride that have moved from that killing scene, so since nothing happening there, nothing left, and they know about that, because the other one have eaten everything. So those 2 that we've seen back there, they're also going to join here as well. Once they're done with it, once the water close by around here. So I don't think they're going to move too far with these bellies full. Probably going to call it a day here. Lying, digesting. All they do is just roll over, or stood up, move, follow the shadow around. Still, actually, the weather still allows them to do any movement when they want to, but they won't do much of that with this bellies full. They have worked very well last night. I was talking to one of the guy. He was saying that he witnessed a kill. So it looks like he said that it happened around 8 o'clock last night, which that was actually the best time for them to be able to hunt the buffaloes. But in that herd of buffalo I saw was a lot of a different young one. And all the done, it was very good that they aim for the young one, which is easy for them to kill it quickly before the herd turn around. And that's what they aim for. Because every time they go for a big buffalo, since a very tough animal to die, they would hold for so long until the whole herd turn around, come for help. And this is where sometimes they don't get it done or succeed at the very same time. And when they get a hold of the young one, they make sure that once the herd turn around, they're all done the killing and they're just going to run off, leave the body down, and eventually the whole buffalo is going to move off and they're going to return in that killing. And they're started to feed on. I wasn't going to be bothered too much in terms of pushing too much to hunt for the whole day today. Probably maybe tomorrow, middle of the night. Digesting, it's quick. This heat is going to take place soon. We'll see them paint. Now there's not much of that because the heat is not picking up too much yet. And not sure where the buffalo have moved into. Probably going to aim for another target or follow behind the buffalo. And the buffalo, they're actually very quick to forget what happened in the last 30 minutes or an hour. And then now they all forget about what happened. They might come back here maybe next day or 3 days later. Since they move around, visit quite a few of these waterhole around here during that hot of a day, and drink and move on. And they're probably going to get hunted again by the same pride if these pride don't move far from here. The northern boundary is not far. We're kind of in the middle of a western end of Bevilshoek property. So if they move north, and this is where they will be crossed into Manyeleti Game Reserve, where they normally hang around, then we weren't going to see them, probably get an update about them, but we weren't going to go there. Here, the Franklin now, the Swanson spare files, getting mobile. Sandy, good morning. Welcome to your beautiful, beautiful show this morning. So you want to know where we are right now. So we're north of Djuma, and we already crossed that border. So we're not in Djuma, we're in Bevilshoek. I'm going to check exactly and show you on the map. Let me have a look at the map here. I'll show you where we are exactly. So we have moved far from there, and it's actually far. When I'm saying far, it's probably another 4 kilometers to reach their camp. And this is what they have moved in today. But it's so cool that, it's one of our extended traversing rights we have. For a change, you need to check or, of course, look around for something different species in this area. Possible we may find cheetah sometimes, or unknown leopard. Those sometimes they hang around in Manyeleti. There's a chance we find them. So it's not actually a bad idea to come this far. So I'm gonna stay put here, see what this line do, and I'm gonna be taking you to another a live safari.
Welcome back, everyone. Mom has just spotted some inyalas that Gert and I were watching earlier. She's literally just gotten up. Look at her body language. You see her movements. She's trying to assess very quickly the situation, because they've literally just stood up and started moving very slowly from right to left of your camera. But as Mom was walking, waiting for the cubs to catch up, she seems to have spotted something, and I wonder if it's the Nyala. So across the valley, just ahead of where she is, Gert and I saw some Nyalas, but the cheetah didn't see them, and then eventually we lost sight of the Nyalas, and we were wondering where they had gone. It is very windy. So they might have gone down. There's a drainage line or a gully just up ahead of that mother cheetah that I think those nyalas went into to feed, but also to get away or get out of the wind. And it seems as though she's just spotted them. Could be something else. We're not sure. I haven't seen what she's seen yet. Something's definitely got her attention. Can you see how her ears are pinned back and kept quite low and close to her body? And she's just listening and watching. She's actually just assessing the situation, trying to see where her best route or her best cover will be in order to get closer to these inyalas. And whilst Mom is doing that, one of the cubs has actually seen that leopard tortoise. I'm going to keep an eye on Mom, just to see if anything changes there. She's just completely still, and I think she's weighing up her options of approach towards, or she's also just watching to see the direction that those animals or that animal that she's seen is moving. But the cub is preoccupied. They don't have the patience that an adult cheetah knows is required for hunting. And so they lose interest quite quickly. And as would be the same with that tortoise. If it goes into its shell, which it seems it has done, and to stay still, the cheetah will lose interest. So Lauren is asking us what the biggest prey is that I'm assuming that the cheetah can take down, and they can take, I'd say, a female cheetah. The biggest prey she could probably take down is a young female kudu, not necessarily an adult kudu, but a female kudu that is still quite young and of a size that the cheetah would be able to out muscle. But basically, it's anything that they would be able to, once they've tripped in the chase, once they've tripped it and brought it down, that they would be able to keep down, if that makes sense. So like a wildebeest or a zebra, if it gets tripped by the cheetah, yes, it might go down and roll over, but the cheetah is not heavy enough or powerful enough to keep that zebra or wildebeest pinned down. And now I'm talking about this female cheetah in particular. But you do get, of course, with coalitions of males, then there's more cheetah, there's more weight and more strength combined, then they can certainly take down things like zebra or wildebeest and bigger antelope species. But female cheetah, this female cheetah, her biggest would probably be a female kudu, but she will mostly go for females because of the fact that the males of most antelope species have horns, and horns are a potential injury risk to a cheetah, and so she will rather go for females without horns. If she gets injured in a hunt, it's not only her, but it's these two youngsters that will not survive as well. Okay, she's going. Go ahead, Deb. You can join as a third. So whatever she's seen, it has moved into, this is perfect, guys. Off to the left of your screen that you can't see now is a beautiful open clearing, and it seems as though whatever she's seen is in this thicker stuff, and she's sort of, there's chasing. Oh, they've gone up the other side. Okay, we're going to just try to go around now. I just briefly saw some flashes of white on the other side of the drainage line. Flashes of white on the other side of the drainage line. And see. Just on that.
Well, unfortunately, it sounds like there's a little bit of a tech issue down in the eastern part of South Africa. So you're back up here in the northeastern part with the Nkuhuma Pride, who have now settled south of our boundary inside Little Gowrie in the shade. You can see it's just a complete mass of lions inside there. They have been going back and forth on the boundary, but eventually the purple-eyed lioness called them all the cubs, and they went trotting off, which then brought all the other adults across onto their side. At first they were sleeping on our side, but unfortunately she's instigated them going the wrong way, and so I suspect that this is it for them for the day. The lionesses are incredibly tired. I think they're full and uncomfortable, and they just do not want to be moving around. The cubs, on the other hand, as you can see, are fairly active. They're up, down. I think they smell meat and they're excited that maybe they're going to get something, but I fear that there is nothing for them today. So instead they're going to have to rely on a bit of milk from some of the moms. Most of them, I'm afraid, though, won't get very much at all, and they'll have to try and kind of get something else this evening for the little ones, because they could do with a meal, but everybody else, or all the adults, are looking nice and full and healthy. You can just see that they're grooming and starting to settle. This is typical for lions at this stage of the day. It's also getting blisteringly hot. The sun all of a sudden has got this little kind of spike to it. And so I think that's why they've seeked out the shade. In particular, these Tamboti groves make for some of the best shade out here in the bush. They grow very, very close together, and there's very little light that gets down to the bottom. And so if they get in underneath there, they can often have a really nice shade for most of the day. There's also a little waterhole not too far from where they are now on their southern side. It's where Sibui's cubs have been spending a lot of time of late. It's a small little pan, so it's the perfect place for them. Part of me was hoping that they were going to go to Twin Dams to drink, but unfortunately they turned around about 100 meters short of that and then went the opposite direction. So not ideal, but it's the way it goes. Can't always win. And we've been lucky so far in the last couple of days with lions. It's been, like I say, Telematis and Kumas. It's a weird thing in this area when you go through these phases of not a single lion in sight, and then it's like it rains, it pours kind of vibe. Then you start to get them all over the place. I hear an update now that there sounds like there's tracks for the Shamungwe lioness and cub on Simambili, so that's 3 different groupings of lions. In fact, 4 different sightings of lions that are in this area today, which is crazy. So we've been spoiled a little bit with them. I know Steve was quite happy yesterday for his birthday to have got to spend some time with the pride, and they got up to a few little things, which is good for him. But I think we'll probably leave them fairly shortly, because once they go down flat, it's going to be the best of views through all of these thickets. There's also a number of vehicles from the lodges that traverse the side that want to come in, and I don't want to take up space for them if we can't have a decent view of them. So we're going to try and see if we can go and find this leopard that was calling around the dam cam. Hopefully we'll have a bit of luck.
Well, folks, yes, here I am. We have found the male lions. I promised I would look for them. They're quite a distance away, and believe me, that's a lion. Does look very flat, but it is the coalition of the Mash boys. That is Babayao, Kibogoyo, and Doa. And the one you can see there is Babayao. It's one of the Mash 3. We saw Kibogoyo about 2 days ago. He looked very beautiful, but he had a wound just above his nose. And Doa is to the right, and he's mating with one of the females. The female that he's mating with, I'm not sure which pride he is from. I would bet it could be a river, but if it's a river, then things are even more complicated now, because it means that they might take over the river pride. But they are somewhere there. I'm hoping they can get up. I understand that he was seen here yesterday evening, Doa, and he was mating with a female. He's still mating with a female. Remember that sometimes some females will just be submissive so that they can win the confidence of the male before they can get away. So it's not always that they are receptive. And I think this is the case here. They are off to the right of that male. I don't know if we can see them, Bungay, or even a hair of where they are. They are off to the right of that bush there somewhere. There they are. You can see a little bit of the body. That's a lion there behind. You can see a white, like a palish, loggish, the color. There, that is a lion. Believe me, I'm not pulling your leg. That is one of the males. They're quite big, very intimidating at their prime, and it's very easy that they can take over the river pride, because the river pride is very unstable at the moment. Remember, they don't have a male at the moment. Split nose has been seen there a few times, and so he cannot actually stand these 2 guys here and the other guy we saw the other day. So there are 3. They're Mash 3. They have been coming to this area since August, when I first came here for the migration. They've been roaming around this area, and it means that they have confirmed that there is no strong coalition, and now it's about time that they take over. Being two and big enough is very intimidating enough to tell everybody who's around that, they mean business, and so it's much easier to take over. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. It's nice and it's warming up, and I'm hoping that anytime they can get up for you guys so you can see the size. There's a sudden movement there. I don't know if this honeymoon is real, because it's usually very active, as you've noticed in the last few weeks when we shared, lions mating with you. Looks like they're flat out, so I don't know how long they've been mating. If when they were last seen, they were mating yesterday, but I don't know how long they've been mating. Usually you see the female stand up. She initiates the mating by presenting herself to the male quite aggressively, and usually the male has got no option but to mate with her. And during mating, they can go for up to 7 days without eating. The mating, lasts about 3 seconds, but they mate for, about 50 times a day for 7 days. It might sound a lot, yes, but for ovulation to take place in females, the ovary has to be stimulated. So the last few times, it's the only time that she actually conceives. Well, I'm going to stick here just in case they get up and we have some action. And let's take you to another live location.
Welcome back to Ambient Pinde, everyone. And we've managed to catch up with the cheetah again. And unfortunately, Mom was not successful. You can see her breathing now is more similar to the cubs was earlier after they had their little game. So she did exert a little bit of energy now. She did go full speed, and we found her quite far from where she was initially, and so she chased probably about 300 meters before giving up, and then there was a little bit of confusion and searching because the cubs didn't keep up. I think they might have picked a target as well, and so they each chased an Inyala, and so they were separated in that hunt, and so there was some contact calling going on, and they did reunite just moments ago before you came to us. So unfortunately not successful, but I can't believe my luck. It's my first drive back after leave, and I saw a cheetah hunt and chase, so that's pretty exciting for me. Hopefully a sign of a good work cycle here on Pinde. I love the chaos and confusion that happens when there's a hunt and a chase. If you can't see everything, and if it's not in a open clearing. We didn't even know. We assumed that those were the Inyalas that we had seen earlier, and that those were the animals that she was hunting, but we weren't 100% sure. And then all of a sudden she went and she disappeared into that thick stuff. And then we had to, that the whole search becomes active again because you don't know exactly where they are. And so, and you're always asking yourself, did they catch? Did Mom catch? Did one of the youngsters catch? Which direction did they go? Where did they end up? What we actually had to do was just switch off and listen, and we could hear the very high-pitched contact calling that they were doing between one another, almost like a bird chirp. I don't know if any of you have heard it before, but it sounds a little bit like this. And they were doing that until, almost like Marco Polo, until they found one another. And then they had a quick little greeting session. They rubbed faces, groomed one another a little bit. And then they've come and found this nice open clearing to rest. You can see Mom's now feeling quite tired. But that was awesome how she just sort of kicked into action. They were simply moving, and as you guys joined us, she spotted the Inyalas, and all of a sudden her body language and her whole behavior changed. And she just went straight into that hunting, predatory mode. And then after she'd missed, again, just like flipping a switch, she's now in relax and recoup your energy mode, just like that. So you might notice it getting lighter every now and then, and that's just because it is quite cloudy. This morning it was really overcast and stayed dark for quite a long time. But now there are some gaps in the sky, in the clouds. The sun seems to be burning off some of the cloud cover. And it is ideal conditions for these cheetah because it's staying nice and cool. By now, if it was a clear sunny day, they would definitely be retreating to some shade by now. Good. A firm. Three stations. RKB, I hope I'm understanding the question correctly, but you're saying, do they always finish a successful hunt on the same day? So you're saying if they manage to make a kill, will they finish it on the same day? And if you're specifically asking for cheetah, then the answer 99% of the time is yes. They will, especially a mom and two cubs like this, if she manages to catch something, they will eat as much as they can, because of the fact that the kill, the smell, so the sounds of the kill, maybe the distress of the animal, and then also the smells of the open carcass will attract bigger predators like lion and leopard and possibly even hyena. And so cheetahs will definitely try their best to eat as much as they can. Instinct will drive them to just feed and feed and feed until their tummies are about to burst, and then once they've had their feed, they'll go and lie down. If they make the kill early in the morning, it's all very dependent on the situation. And so, sorry, if mom makes the kill, or if one of them makes the kill in the morning, then they will usually stick with that kill for the duration of the day. If it's hot, they'll lie in the shade, digest, and then as soon as there's a small little gap in their tummy to feed them some more, they'll go back and they'll feed more. But later on in the day, when it starts to get cooler and it starts to get dark, they will know that the nocturnal predators will more than likely start to get active, and so they will have their last feed for the day, and then they will move off, and they will move quite a good distance away from that kill to a safer area, or an area where they feel they're safer. They've got a good opportunity to spot any danger, and then also as cheetah, they need to make sure that they have a good clear area to run away from any potential danger. However, in certain circumstances, like if it's a particularly big kill, if there's quite a lot of meat left, they will still move away for the night because they know that danger could come towards the kill. But sometimes they will go back and have a look and see if there's any meat left, particularly if it is a big carcass. And when they moved off, there was a lot of meat left, then they might go and check. And I have seen them before back the next morning, after having moved away in the evening, going back to the same kill in the next morning and feeding again. So typically yes, but typically yes, they will finish the kill on the same day and move away. But sometimes they will go back and visit the kill and see if there's any meat left. So they haven't quite settled down just yet. You see Mom and that cub sitting quite upright, and Mom is still scanning around to see if there's any other hunting opportunity. So myself and Gert are going to just stick it out here for a little bit longer. It has proved worth it to wait with them this morning so far. So yeah, we're going to send you off to another location now, and but we're going to stick here.
Great, Grant. Good luck with this cheetah. Hopefully they get to do something. And now we're sitting in this beautiful, smaller herd of impala, I would say, really maybe 3 male impalas. So I have decided to leave that sighting there. It's actually a very busy sighting up north in Beverlysoek. There's a lot of car were very much interested to join the same sighting. So I'm going to decide to move and look for something else, possibly leopard or elephant. It's actually, getting in a kind of a very cool day that you're more likely to find more species interested for drinking this time of the day. And while we're at that lions, I know Sandy wanted to know what our currently location is with the lions. So I'm going to go back now. I don't know. I'm just going to got my map right now. So I'm going to point out exactly what route did I take from the camp. So this is the camp. Can you get that? Yeah, so this is the camp. So I took in, it's called Mvuvu Road, and then from there, close to South Plum, this is where we found the oriole, and I came down Long Pole. So the kill, it was somewhere right here. And then the rest of the pride have moved this far into Trimble Pan. Trimble Pan, it's one of our 300 pan essays up north. So currently they're lying right there next to that pan. So this is a northern boundary, or Manuleta on the other side. So that's where we were. I'm sure we might actually have to come back there if there's a space again. So that's for you, Sandy, if you're still in the shore. So that's my plan now. I'm going to carry on. There's Impala still there. You know what? No, I thought he's one horn, but he's not. Still have a whole buff horn there. It's oxpeckers. It's busy with their own foraging on that antelopes. Oxpeckers are doing a very important role where a lot of herbivore species, they carry a lot of ticks. And then for this bird, as you can see in that antelope, they're busy, picking on the skin, searching for possibly parasite, mainly ticks. Those will be taken. The bird will be feeding on the ticks. So they kind of like sometimes can alert animal if there's a danger approach. Oh, now he looks like he didn't want this bird. Kind of like move off. Those are the ones that haven't actually had an opportunity to join a harem of females somewhere else. But possibly there will be soon, since there is no the breeding or the rutting season is all in the end already, and all females all heavily pregnant. We're aiming to see a lot of babies running around here by November, December. That time there will be a lot of beautiful young palas all over. So I'm going to carry on with my journey here, just to see if I can get anything else for you guys as well. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be taking you over another live safari.
Oh, wow. Giraffe there feeding, but a very interesting phenomena here. A youngster seems to be on his own. Usually giraffes would be with others. It might not be in proximity, but in the distance, if you look around, you'd be able to pick up one or two, especially at this age. But looking around, we don't see much. Look at that landscape. I mean, we've tried scanning around and seeing what could have been happening around here. So an interesting little occasion here with just the youngster being on its own. Cape turtle doves in the background there. Maybe now he realizes he's on his own. Just starting to look around. Look how he focuses the ears also in the direction that she's looking. Oh, there's another one coming in the distance. It's a little bit far for the camera. Maybe we'll try just a little bit to the right there, coming through the gap. But so that makes sense. Right through that gap. You good, Dave? Yeah, so I was shocked to see it alone, so there it confirms my statement. Like it when I'm right. Don't know if you can hear it, but in the background there's jackals calling. Might be a little bit faint, but there's jackals calling and responses all around us. It's like a broken telephone communication. One started calling and it started echoing all around us, just letting us know, obviously, that there are jackals in this vicinity. Linda, very good question. What is the average number of offsprings for giraffe? So giraffe would only, in the norm, have one young or calf. But I have been fortunate enough to actually see giraffe with twins. It doesn't happen often. Where you do actually get it with twins. And I mean, you can imagine the size of the fetus. It's quite a big animal to be carried as a fetus. So having to have twins would mean that the development of those twins would have to be slightly smaller. So your average would be one calf being dropped, and you're looking at a gestation of about 450 days gestation. So also a very, very long gestation. I mean, it is a very big animal, but also what is interesting is giraffe would also give birth actually standing, which is it's just phenomenal. Most animals would do it on the side, but for them to actually do what they do standing is so that the umbilical cord actually snaps, and it's almost like a kickstart to life for that fetus or for that youngster coming out. But it's not a long drop, because the fetus is born just at over a meter tall. So it's just like a excuse my English here, but it's just going to be like a bungee jumpy experience. It's the best way I could explain it for now. I know it doesn't sound very nice, but that's just to paint a picture. And when it jolts, obviously the umbilical cord snaps and the young stays awake or gets awake. Long tail there swishing the flies and what could be bothering it. And also very interesting, here in the Kalahari we don't have a lot of ticks with the animals. What we get here is something called a Laos Fly, and these Laos Flies would embark on these animals and almost be a pest or a parasite to them, and that's where that swishing of the tail would come handy, because they would be bothering them. So you'll see them flicking every now and then. Probably that's what they would be flicking, your common fly and those Laos flies. Guys, we're going to continue searching this beautiful landscape of the Kalahari. In the meantime, while we do that, we'll send you off to another location in Africa.
Welcome back to Ambiampinde, everyone. And these two young cheetahs have found a new jungle gym. Quite literally a jungle gym. They're playing King of the Castle at the moment. So Mom and the two youngsters moved closer to this thicket, and Mom is just lying in the shade, just out of the picture, but the two cubs have come into the thicket and seen and done a little bit of exploring to see what they can find, and they've obviously found this nice big, and they're showing off their athleticism once again. So they might not have the climbing skills of a leopard, but they certainly try. And they have got those powerful hind legs. So you see when they jump up, they get that initial boost from those big hind legs, get themselves as high up in the tree as they can, and then they try to claw and pull their way up higher. And that angled, that tree is at a slight angle, leaning sort of away from us, so it does help them a little bit with climbing. It's amazing how they can just keep themselves entertained with a tree. But they are, like I said, they're still young. They're only about 8 months old, so they've got to spend a lot of energy and most of their time growing, of course, but learning, and they've got to figure out everything, I guess, as much as they can of all of their surroundings. So they through climbing a tree like this, they learn their boundaries, they learn their abilities. And I guess they're also learning their surroundings a lot better. This is the area where they're going to be spending the rest of their lives, so they've got to make sure that they know it very well. And of course, every now and then there's always time to just stop and look around, have a quick break between the sets of playing. How long can cheetah go without eating is a question coming from Anna Marie. And the answer again depends on the situation. So it depends on how full they are or were since their last meal. So, but I mean, on a completely full belly, an adult female cheetah, she could probably fit around 12 to 14 kilograms of meat into her tummy. That's on about a 50 to 60 kilogram cheetah, so that's quite a lot of meat. But their tummies have that ability to stretch because they need to, or they don't know how often they're going to be able to be successful in a hunt, so they need to get as much out of the kills that they do make. But yeah, I would say on a full belly, a female cheetah could probably last 4 or 5 days before she would start to hunt again. But without eating, they can easily go for a week and a half from their last full belly, which would be pushing the boundaries a little bit, 1.5 to 2 weeks, but it is possible. But they are usually successful within about 5-6 days usually. Boom Shack's asking how often do they rely on their nose to spot prey. So cheetah do have a very good sense of smell. They have these really big nostrils which enable them to take in enough oxygen, which allows them to run as fast as they do. And so they have got very good senses of smell. And I would say that But I would say that smell is probably the third sense that helps them to find prey. So their first priority is to try and spot prey, because then they can because then they can assess the situation and assess the surroundings and assess their approach, how they're going to try and stalk the prey. So their best, or their main sense that they use for finding prey is through their eyesight. And then hearing is definitely the second one. So like we saw earlier on with this female, she walking, and I think she either heard them or spotted them, those inyalas that she did eventually chase. So as they're walking through an open clearing, they might hear, whoa, straight up the tree. So you see that initial jump takes them up quite nice and high, but then their climbing thereafter is not as good as a leopard. So I think that she heard them or spotted them because the wind was wrong. The wind was going from her towards them. But when they are resting or sitting down somewhere, taking a moment to look for prey, they might, if there's a light breeze, put their nose up into the wind and see if they can pick up the smell of any potential prey. But it's not a sense that they go to. It's not their go-to sense for finding prey. It is one of the senses that they can use, of course, for finding prey. But I would say it's the third option for finding prey. But they certainly do use the nose for finding prey, and more especially for smelling danger. So potentially dangerous animals have a much more prominent smell than prey, but they do know what their prey smells like, so they definitely can use it for that. I'm gonna start up the car, and I'm gonna just try and go around. I apologize if we do lose signal, but I think there's a perfect little gap on the other side of that tree where the cheetah have climbed up into. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to take you to another location while we do that.
Jambo, and welcome to the to the Mara River. And here I have the predators of the Mara. These guys reign supreme in this river. They are the Nile crocodile, and I think the name derives from where they were first seen. This is a prehistoric animal that hasn't changed much for over 60 million years. One of the only few reptiles that is a predator that still considers man as a source of food. Yes, these guys live for a very long time, and they feed sometimes one good feed over a period of a few months, and then they stay put without doing anything for such a long time, up to 1 year without eating. Yes, we are at the Mara River. This is the river that all the wildebeest come to cross. In case you don't know about it, I'm going to remind you. The Great Migration is an annual migration of about 3 million animals: wildebeest, zebra, topis, eland, Thompson's gazelle, and a few nomadic predators come. And during the months of August, September, they crisscross this river, and it is the main catalyst to keep the numbers down. The Mara River takes more lives than nature. When I say nature, I mean lions, leopards, hyenas, jackals, cheetahs, wild dogs, and even natural causes like exhaustion doesn't take as many as this great Mara River. So it plays a very big role in making sure that the numbers are kept in check. Apart from the crocodiles, we do have the other inhabitants, who are the hippos. And here they are, and looks like they're all very happy to use one of their own as a pillow. And that bird over there, I can see it. I think it's a common sandpiper, and definitely it's picking some creatures that have got attached to the hippo skin. Remember, hippo skin is almost 3 centimeters thick, and I'm sure it can feel nothing when that little bird walks on top of it. Look how sleepy that hippo is. I think he's in dreamland. Yes. Look at the ears, look at the eyes and nose, all above the head, very much like a crocodile. It's the same. You're going to see that when Bungei shows you the crocodile, and that is an adaptation, so they can live comfortably in water and only bringing the head, just above, the head up, and all the senses can be used, sight, smell, and hearing. Look at the crocodile, same thing applies. The eyes, the nose, they're all above the head. It's an adaptation for this animal to be able to live well in the water. Well, crocodiles do control their body temperatures. It's called thermoregulation, where they have to, warm the upper part of the body to keep their temperature in a stable rate, so that they can actually function. And especially when they need to hunt, they have to come out, because remember, they're cold-blooded, to warm their blood so they can actually swim faster. This is a predator that is no joke. Anything getting into the water, including young elephants, giraffes, rhinos, lions, they will take them. So in these rivers, they are the lords. So this is not a place we do swimming. Yeah, they can grow up to 18 feet. Records dictate that they have been recorded to weigh up to 1,000 kilos. That is a ton. That is very, very heavy. And they have the ability to stay underwater for over an hour. Makes them, really creepy and dangerous. And also can see really well underwater. A reptile that can actually disappear in the water without making a ripple. That creeps me. But I have lots of respect, because in the water they reign supreme. The Mara River drains into Lake Victoria. It's one, big river. And then the Lake Victoria, drains into the Nile. And then from the Nile into the Mediterranean. What do you have for us here? Whoa, look at this. Lawn, we have the little bee eater over here. Look at this cutie. Little bee eater. And I think he knows we're talking about him. Look at how worried he is. They feed on bees, and they're able to crush them, and sometimes they hit them over twigs. They hunt from one patch. They'll fly, catch, and then come back. I don't know if he's come back. Yes, there we are. Yeah, little bee eater. Look at him. Yeah. Thank you for your comment. The river looks beautiful. It does. Yeah, is he gonna come back? Not this time. Not this time. Yes, the river looks beautiful. Look at it. It's flowing always to Lake Victoria. Yes, remember it drains to the, the largest river in Africa, the Nile. Yeah, the first largest. We have the Nile. The three biggest rivers in Africa are the Nile, the Congo, and then the Niger. So it does help and contribute to, the distribution of water to the Nile. And these waters end up very, very far away. The rapids are rough. It looks like we've had some rain upstream, and it is beautiful. Look at the barn swallows, flying over here. They're all very happy. Remember to talk to us. #WildEarth. Question, comments are very, very welcome. Keep it interesting. Yeah, that is the area we saw lots of crossing this year. If you were there, remember, that is the place that was full of action. I can picture some crocodile, some zebras and wildebeest gathered and some crossing. That was phenomenal. That was super. Yeah, The Mara River drains into Lake Victoria, but it starts up in a place called the Mau, and it's almost 100 kilometers from here. It's in a small swamp. It's got small tributaries that feed into it, making it flow constantly. It divides the Mara into two. The Mara Conservancy, also known as the Mara Triangle, and the Greater Mara. It's just a beautiful sight. Normally we have more hippos here, but today it looks like it's only these few guys. I don't know what happened to the rest. And this time I think the one that was being used as a pillow has become tired, and so is not tolerating anybody anymore. It's typical for hippos to stay in the water up to 13-14 hours a day. Yes, enjoy that while we take you to another live location.
Back to the Kalahari. I mean, guys, it's so amazing to see that in the last 3-4 days we've been having cloud cover every now and then, a little bit of a spit here and there, nothing really much of a proper rain, if I can call it, but it just shows that the desert or these soils here are so rich in nutrients. And the reason that is, look at what we have here. It's an eland bean, or an elephant's root, as some say it. And just from the moisture that we've captured over the last few days, life has been given. Look at that. A very beautiful green shoot coming out and already starting to flower. I mean, it's just a couple of days of moisture and there we go. A very widespread small shrub, and probably growing up to, I'd say, maybe 50 centimeters. And at times when we've had good rains, it will cover majority of these soils, and very high in actually tannins. And again, taking us back to tannins, make these plants very bitter or not palatable with a proper English. So a lot of animals would actually avoid them. But interesting enough, the locals here have found a way to use this plant. And you look at how the whole plant would be used. If you look at the roots, starting from the roots, they'll have a very deep penetrating root, a tap root, and it becomes quite a thick stub, and it is very red in color. So what usually would happen is they would boil that with leather, and obviously because of its high content of tannin, it will give the leather an orangish red tinge to it, and that's what they actually use the bulb or the root to be more exact for. But also there's other uses for this specific plant, where locals also, because of not having well-established healthcare systems and so on, they found medicinal uses to stop things like your diarrhea and also stomach ailments, where you'd be having cramps. They would actually boil the leaves and make you drink that, and it should help with things to do or associated with stomach ailments. So it's just a beautiful plant that we get in the Kalahari. Okay, also in addition, I nearly forgot this. When the shrub is fully matured, it actually makes a very long pod, almost like those of acacias, but the pod is quite big. And what they also often do is they would break the pod open and get the little seeds inside and roast them. And after roasting them, they actually crush them, and that could make a substitute for coffee. But just, guys, look around. Everything is just starting to shoot just from that moisture. If we look, you can just see with the younger ones that are smaller than the one we've been showing, just everything starting to shoot green. Can't wait for a lot of rain to come and the Kalahari transform into this lush, beautiful place. Just trying to take a moment there, looking around what other plant life was around us. But I see it's just the eland bean that's the first to kind of emerge. So yeah, this is good hope that we're going in the right direction. Artie, thanks for the comment there, loving medicinal plants. It's the way medicine evolved, or westernized medicine has evolved. It's all about studying plants and knowing the properties these plants possess, and then being able to actually extract those and make them useful. Also helps in sustaining life, not just for human but for other species, by further understanding what these plants actually really possess. So the extracts of these plants are very, very powerful, and especially in Africa. You can imagine, we've got a term, I don't know how many people would know this, but we've got a term, traditional healer. And those are more used in the rural areas where there's no westernized medicine. And it's exactly this. People would go out, collect plants, test them out on different things, and find ways to actually use them, whether they're poisonous, whether they it's a remedy, whether they'll figure out ways and means of using them. So yeah, Mother Nature always provides. Guys, while we continue searching for what Mother Nature gives, I'm going to be sending you off to another very beautiful location in Africa.
Welcome back to Ambiampinde, everyone. We've just looped around to the other side of this thicket, and the cheetah are up and down the same tree still. The games are continuing. So the sun is appearing more and more often, and it is really starting to get warm now. And so the cubs, you can see, are right in the middle of the thicket because it's nice and cool. Here we go. Come on. Now the reason we came around to this side is because when they do go up the tree, right up to the top, they've been popping out in that big fork, facing towards us. But as is usually the case, when you are with us, they do exactly the opposite. Come on! That was close. Good question, Rick. So Rick is asking, where is the dad cheetah? And so he is somewhere roaming around Phinda, unlike with, well, I suppose it's only really with lions actually that the fathers are slightly involved, although they are more indirectly involved than directly involved, but the male cheetahs are not involved at all with the raising of the youngsters. And so the male cheetah on Phinda hold territories, and they will, just like male leopards and male lions, they will patrol their territory, scent mark, put their stamp down basically on their area, and they will compete with other cheetah for certain areas of the reserve. And females, on the other hand, are more what we call home ranging. So they will have an area that they prefer, that they spend more time in, and but they will move this home range because of the fact that if they spend too much time in an area, number one, their prey species will get more and more aware of the fact that they're spending time in that area, and then the prey themselves will move away. But also because of the fact that there is the chance that predators will move into that area, so they will move away. But basically when a female cheetah comes into heat, she will go in search of a male, and what she will usually do is, because they come into physical contact with one another very rarely, she will find a male's scent marking post, and she will leave some urine there, and from that, it seems like the cubs have found a little spot to settle down for now, and from that post where the female will urinate as well, when the male returns to patrol his territory, or on his territorial patrol, when he returns to that spot, he will smell that the female has urinated there, and he will be able to tell from the urine that the female is in heat or estrus, and he will then from there track her down, and using his sense of smell, he will find her, mate with her, and then they go their separate ways. Now, you might wonder, what if she comes into contact with a male cheetah when she has cubs, and there is no way of those male cheetahs telling if the cubs are theirs or not. There's no bond or maintenance of any kind of bond between a female cheetah and a male cheetah, and so the instinct of the male cheetah is to assume that the cubs are not theirs, try to kill the cubs so that the female will come into heat again. So a female cheetah has to avoid a male cheetah as much as possible, especially when she has cubs. So like the coalition or a male cheetah that was responsible for these cubs, if he came across them, he wouldn't have no way of telling, and so he would try to attack and kill them, and so mom would be on the lookout constantly for other male cheetah as well. So there's just I suppose, numerous dangers and concerns for cheetah out in the bush. So male cheetah is just one of them. You see Mom lying right in the edge of the thicket there, as close to it as she can, for as much shade as possible. And there is quite a strong wind blowing. I'm sure you might have heard it as we've been speaking or as we've been sitting here. And so the shady spots are pretty much the only savior from the sun at the moment. And it seems like the cubs have found a nice little spot to settle down. I'm just going to roll back a little bit for us so we can show you those cubs. There we go. Yeah, so they've also, just like Mom, they've found a spot to settle down in the shade. Now, after, because of the fact that they hunted this morning, Mom will be now conserving most of her energy resting in the shade, trying to recuperate. And she will be on the lookout, most definitely, for any other prey that might come across this open clearing. But in terms of actively going and stalking and going on what we call going on the prowl, she's not going to be doing that again today. She's going to be resting here. But again, opportunistically, if she's able to spot something, hear something or smell something, then she might try to investigate that and see if it is a hunting opportunity. But for the most part, the rest of the day for these cheetah, it's going to be resting. But now we do know that their tummies are quite empty. If no opportunity presents itself throughout the day today, then this afternoon, when it starts to cool down a little bit, that's when Mom would typically start to become a little bit more active, start to think about looking for a hunting opportunity. But yeah, like I say, I think for now, these cheetah are going to be resting properly in the shade now. The cubs have had a busy morning. Mom's had a busy morning. She's had a hunt, unfortunately for them and for us, unsuccessfully. But myself and Gert, from here, I think we're going to carry on. We've had an amazing time with these cheetah, and I think we're going to go and see what else we might be able to find for you this morning.
This herd of buffalo slowly makes its way towards Leopard Dam. What a spectacular, bright green morning. Hi everyone, I'm Mike. Behind the camera is Seb, and you've joined us at Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy. I know you've missed us, but we've been adventuring all over the place, enjoying a little bit of exploration on Pridelands, and I'm so glad we managed to find this herd of buffaloes as they've gotten active. They were very, very static a bit earlier, not moving at all. Now that it's warmed up, they've decided they want to go to the water, and they're just feeding on some nice fresh green grass as they make their way towards the muddy end of the waterhole. There's a big, strong male buffalo, one of the dominant males in the group, I'm sure, walking on the outskirts of the herd, protecting all these younger individuals who are sort of in the middle. There's a couple of larger bulls making up the rear as well. Amazing, these animals, they've been grunting and groaning the whole way through this bushes, I suppose communicating with each other and just letting everyone know that they're on the move. It's one of the buffalo herds that we see on Pridelands. I think there are two about of a similar size that move around the reserve, although this is the herd that we see most of the time because they spend all of their time moving between Leopard Dam and Ndlovu Dam, close to the Eco Training Camp. So we know these ones quite well. And that one young buffalo who had the damaged horn, which was being attended always by oxpeckers and other animals, has, we can't find him anymore, so either unfortunately succumbed to its injuries, or it's healed enough that the oxpeckers are no longer pestering it. Because there's no specific buffalo here which is having a particular attendance of oxpeckers. There's a few oxpeckers here and there. You can see them cropping this green grass, going for the fresh green longer shoots, nice and bright. Don't take a few steps and they keep eating. Remember, they're large animals. They do need to feed constantly. Although what's nice is at this time of year, there's plenty of green stuff to go around. Towards the end of the winter, around about July, August, maybe even into September, it was very, very dry and there wasn't much food. And some of the buffaloes were actually starting to look a little bit bony. But you can see here plenty of green stuff, and they're fleshed out nicely. Very, very strong and healthy looking buffaloes. And this one here giving us a bit of a mean look. Sorry, old chap. We're not... Yes! I'm also super excited to be back. Thanks, everyone. We missed you. But we're going to try and stick around a bit longer this time. And this buffalo herd is actually reaching the water's edge soon. So what we'll do is we'll try and reposition in a moment to try and... Oh, there's a lady tungsten. Hello, lady tungsten. She had her little tongue out. Hi there. What a gorgeous girl, hey? A bit of an older female, maybe. Just sniffing the air there, just making sure there's no danger as she approaches the waterhole. Yes, yes. You should chew with your mouth closed. I love buffaloes. I've actually recently, over the last month or two, decided that buffaloes might be my favorite of the big five. I know it's not many people's favorite, but I just think they're very, very interesting to watch. So slow and methodical about how they do things, but also incredibly tenacious. And you can see this female, she's got a youngster behind her. That's why she's being a little bit extra cautious. There's her youngster following close behind, also very curious. But I was speaking to one of the other instructors, and he was saying that for him, buffaloes really are the one animal that just shows off the ruggedness of Africa. Linda, they basically are. I mean, buffaloes are basically African cows. I think this is probably where a lot of, some of the domesticated cow species came from animals just like this, because of course buffaloes provide a lot of meat. They're quite docile most of the time, and they also have lots of milk, which is highly nutritious. So of course the earliest humans probably would have been domesticating these kind of animals. So you can see the rest of the buffalo herd is just to our right. A lot of them have moved off to the left, and the rest of them are just here on our right, also heading down to the water. In fact, we're sort of in the way of them a little bit, but we're not going to move at all, so they're going to move around us. We've been sat here quite still for quite some time. But yes, Linda, I think this is basically where most of domestic cows come from. Very similar animals like this. And I mean, all over the world there are buffaloes. Think of the bison in the Americas and the water buffalo from Asia. So we've certainly got a lot of different buffalo species. Oh, there's a battalier flying over us, just calling. So nice to watch these buffaloes just feeding. Yeah, as I said, they really are, for me and for lots of other people, the symbol of rugged, dangerous Africa. The lion is obviously gorgeous to look at, and leopards are my favorite animal, just really, really beautiful. But buffaloes are just tenacious and powerful, and they just never give up. Sometimes have terrible wounds, and they just keep going. And they protect each other as well. This female over here will be fiercely protective of her calf, and the male buffaloes will look after the whole herd. If they get attacked by lions, they will encircle them and put their horns down and present this sort of impenetrable shield of horns that really not many predators would even attempt to take on. Maybe only the most, the most experienced prides of lions or clans of hyenas would even attempt to take on a herd of buffaloes like this for fear of getting serious injury. And see how cautious they are when there's so many individuals like this. It's very easy for them to spot danger. I mean, they're all listening all the time. Heads come up, they sniff the wind. Their eyesight is probably the weakest of their senses, but it's good enough to spot, a lion moving out in the open, even at a distance. It's good to know that they are being cautious as they approach the water. Okay, I'm going to try and reposition us. Some of the buffalo are reaching the water. Toby triplets, I don't think so, but twins, I suppose it's possible. Many animals that we don't, normally associate with twins, like elephants, for example, sometimes happen. So I suppose it could probably happen with buffaloes on the very, very extreme rare occasions, but certainly not commonly at all. I don't think I've ever seen buffalo twins, but it might have been recorded at some point in the past. Oh, that buffalo's having a good scratch. It literally was reversed. That big male buffalo just to the right of this female was having a big scratch on a thorn tree in order to try and scratch his belly, which he couldn't normally reach. Well, these buffaloes are heading around us now. Some of the first of the herd have reached the water. These ones are the tail end of the herd. They are going to be reaching the water soon. And then they'll probably not go too far after this because it's becoming a very, very hot day. You can see those tails swishing to keep away the bugs. And once they have had a drink of water, they're probably going to rest in the shade somewhere near here, maybe in the drainage line or underneath some of the large trees around the dam in order to stay nice and cool. Remember, they've got that four-chambered stomach. They're ruminants. So once they've got food in their belly, they won't need to keep feeding. They can just regurgitate that food and keep chewing it to get more of the nutrients out. It's a good and effective way of saving a little bit of energy. Oh, look at that little calf. I'm quite excited about getting closer to the water. There's a second calf coming behind it. Each one of those belonging to a different mother. You can see how they stick close to the side of their mother. Especially when they're moving like this, it's better to stay close to the mother. If they get separated at all, that's when they can become in danger of a predator attacking them. And some of the older buffaloes at the back slowly moving, just plodding along. When you weigh 400 or 500 kilograms, it's not an easy thing to keep your body moving quickly all the time. Got to take it slow. So this is a female. You can see because her horns are not as big and heavy as a male would be. So she's got the horns that join in the middle, but they're not thick. They're not bumpy, granulated things. You'll see there's a male coming at the back there. He's a bit stuck behind some bushes, but eventually we'll have a look at him and you'll be able to see the difference between the female's slender horns and the male's thick and heavy boss. See still some individuals in front of us here as well, just watching us from the shade. It's okay, old girl, you can make it past us. We're not going to move. We're going to stay very still and quiet. There's these interesting light patches in front of the eyes. So there's a little fly moving on it right now. Now, I've always been wondering what those are, and I hear lots and lots of different theories behind it from, that's where the ears flick and they hit the eye there, but I don't think that's the case because, this buffalo is flicking its ears a lot and they don't seem to be hitting it in the face. I actually think it might be glandular skin. Perhaps there's some preorbital glands there, which they use to maybe leave a scent, maybe for the calf, to identify specific individuals. You see that bare patch of skin there. I don't know, has anyone else heard any interesting theories about it? Someone mentioned to me that maybe it's a light patch of skin there that helps to reflect light into the eyes for when they are feeding during the evening. Oh, she got a bit of a fright there. Don't worry, old girl. You are not in any danger from us, I can assure you. And there's a buffalo scratching in the background. You can see the whole tree moving as it scratches its side against that little russet or red bush willow. Very curious, isn't she? She's got a bit of mud on her flank there, probably from mud wallowing yesterday. So buffaloes are extremely dependent on water. They sometimes move long distances, but they do want to drink every single day if they can, and twice actually, if possible. They usually drink twice a day. This is mostly females. I actually can't see a male. I thought most of the males are far off to the right behind this buffalo as they make their way behind us. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably try and reposition the vehicle to see if we can get a view of them at the waterhole.
As always, when we're just about to come to you, they sleep or they disappear, but at least he's still there. You see him? That is one of the two males that I was looking for this morning. I have found him also, so I can say that I have found the two that I was looking for. He's one of the new pride males from the Marsh Pride that crossed the river. I don't know when, but we have seen them crisscrossing the river for the last 2 months, and finally looks like they will take over this section of the Mara. There is one that's mating with one of the females from the river breakaway, and this guy seems to be keeping him company quite a distance away. Remember that during mating, it's not always that the mate that starts mating end up, with the mating. He gets too tired because it's very vigorous, very energy draining, and so towards the end, a new male does come in and finishes the copulation. Apart from mating, this is what they do best, as you know, resting. They are masters of resting, and he is doing that here. The bush is under is the one I've been talking about, the orange-leafed croton. And it's a bush that repels insects because it smells really nice, but the insects don't like it. So it's a bush that is favored by most predators, and one of them being, lions. They love this tree. A very good place to hide, raised up, so he just needs to lift his head and he can see what's going on around. This is a fully grown male lion. As you can see, he's got mixed colors in his mane, quite black towards the below and very blondish above. That is a sign of maturity. I would give him a good over 8 years. He's at its prime right now. Can weigh up to around 240 kilos. Very intimidating, and when they're 3, it's a force to reckon. Remember to talk to us. #WildEarth. Question and comments are very welcome. It's a beautiful morning. Still a little bit cloudy, but it's warmer than how we started this morning. I'm loving it. You see the orange leaves on the tree? Hence the name orange-leafed croton. Remember, it's a hardwood. In the local language, it's called oleker dengai. I don't know if you can pronounce that right. Every now and then he moves. Look at that. He looks like he ate maybe a day before or a day ago, and so he's very well fed. Looks chubby enough to keep him going. Of the 3 coalition that crossed here, he is, this one I think is the one called Babayao, because I identified Kibogoyo, and who else did I identify? There was Kibogoyo I identified. So this is, I think this is, sorry, this is Doa, I think. Well, it's still hard to really say who he is. when he's lying like that, but I will definitely identify him by the end of the day. But the other one that was mating earlier is Babayao, we have identified, and Chongo Kibogoyo the other day. So of the three, we just need to identify this guy later. Well, looks like he's in need of some peace. So I think the best thing to do for me is continue on, see what I can find further up. Sometimes it's hard to just sit there when they're sleeping, although it's nice, but it can take toll. His other brother is somewhere here, mating. I don't know if we'll be able to see him from a distance. And that is the brother that I was able to identify as Babayao. Well, as I try to find him, Babayao, let's take you to our next live location.
So the buffaloes have reached the waterhole, but they've started to move off now. In fact, not all the individuals came down to the water. Some of the larger males did not, but this one is taking full advantage of that water. Standing in there, just, I think it's probably using it as a bathroom, because, it's always embarrassing when you're at the beach. You need to go to the bathroom, don't know where to go. Water's the best place, right? But they're slowly moving. I have no idea why I said that. It just came into my mind. Sometimes I don't have a filter. So these buffalo are slowly moving into the deeper water. Some of them are cutting across past in front of us. I know that it's not the easiest view of the buffalo, but you can see them moving behind these bushes over here. And a lot of them are leaving the water now. As we mentioned, they would probably go and feed on some of the grasses near to the water's edge, be able to come and pop back into the water if they get a bit too hot. You can see the ripples in the water. It's not a very windy day, so the water has got ripples just from the buffaloes moving in it. So this is the muddy side of the waterhole. So they came here just also to get a bit of like a mud wallow in on the edges. There's a few more buffaloes to our right, which should reach the water soon enough. So we're not going to go anywhere. It's a lovely shady spot for us to view these buffaloes as they come past the water and towards the water. So there's the few buffaloes that have just finished. There's a tiny little calf there, probably just a few months old, staying close to mama. See how the mother's a mixed feeder, so she ate a few of the leaves there and now she's eating some of the grass. So buffaloes can feed on basically anything, just like cows. We mentioned before how our buffaloes, African cows, and just like cows, they can eat a bit of everything. They can eat leaves if they need to, grasses if they need to. So they're mixed feeders. They're not constrained to any one type of food. And that's why they do fairly well compared to some that are more specific feeders, because they can eat whatever's available at the time. And because they're ruminants, they can extract the maximum amount of nutrients from whatever it is they do eat. Unlike some of the bulk grazers, like zebras, for example, which need to eat a specific type of food, grasses, and then they can't ruminate, they can't chew that food multiple times. So then, if there's not good quality food available, they're unfortunately not doing very well. See the buffaloes there stuffing themselves underneath those trees, getting to some of the... So it's getting very hot now, so the grasses are starting to wilt a little bit. And so those grasses that are protected from the sun are the juiciest grasses at the moment. In fact, this morning it was very cold. It was a chilly morning, I think less than 20 degrees, which I know for a lot of you might sound like not that cold. But after a 40-degree day, 20 degrees does feel very chilly. There's a lot of dew on the grass, which is probably why a lot of these buffaloes haven't come down to drink. Because of all the dew this morning, they probably got a lot of the water they needed just as they were feeding. This is the view of buffaloes that when you're on a trail and you see them in the thick bushes like this, it causes you to freeze because you just think, oh my word, have I stumbled myself into a herd of buffalo? And they're, commonly known to be some of the most dangerous animals that you might find in the bush. So when you do see them on foot, you have to be very, very cautious. The herds are generally a little bit more easy because the main thing they want to do is protect their youngsters. You can see now how well camouflaged they are. It's the single buffalo bulls that you really want to be wary of, because those you might not see till you step right on their tails, and then you're in big trouble.
Ile miti imekauka. Underneath ile miti imekauka across. Uko ng'ambo. Kuna dume inatembea. Hii miti inakauka. Well, here are, the other pair that was mating away from the one we just left. I have a better view, and looks like there is no issues. Normally, if the female is resisting, she will be waking up and gnarling and, making some sounds to tell the male that he is not welcome, he is not happy. But here it looks like all is well. Typically, he stays very close and give him full attention, sometimes not leaving her even like 6 feet away. He'll just stay there, and as soon as she wakes up, he will do the same. Most of the time, she does the initiating of the mating. She initiates it. And here, I think, these two lionesses, we see just one. There is another one that hangs around with this one, have accepted these, 3 males that are hanging around this area. They are a new coalition as the new pride males. They are mating, believe me. So I'm, hoping that we're going to be patient, and before the end of the show, maybe we'll see them mate. It's usually very fast. If you blink, you miss, but it works. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions, comments are very, very welcome. Make it more interesting. It's all good. It's warming up. What's that bird behind the lions, Bungay? Just went down, sorry. Looked like a yellow-throated longclaw, but it's no longer in sight. They do preserve their energy by staying, put like that, because the mating is, quite energy draining. And so, yeah, she's up. I don't know if it's gonna happen. It looks like the female keeps looking up and looking at the... No, I thought he was looking at the other male, but looks like he was just looking at me and then went down. I don't know which female it is, this one. It's going to be interesting to find out, because now I just look at her face and she looked quite different from the one I thought was mating. There is 2 lionesses we saw here, me and Bungay, about a day ago. Very young, very playful. They look like they had just crossed the river, and then they were looking for a spot to cross again. We left them struggling to find. This one looks like she's much older, and her tip of the tail is missing. That's what I just saw. And if it is who I think, things are going to get really complicated for me, because she's the river lioness that has got cubs. The cubs that I've been looking for the last almost 8 weeks. I saw a glimpse of them and then they got hidden. So this is a nice spot for me to stay for a little bit, see who she is. One day, when they reveal, if these males don't kill those cubs, if they did sire them, if they reveal the cubs, I think we're going to have a pile of cubs. I don't know how to call it or to put it, because there are going to be so many. There is about 4 lionesses that I think have got cubs, because I've seen that they are lactating. tells me that, you know, they've got cubs. Fish, the mockfish, are there other animals that kill the young ones like lions do? Well, I know of zebra. Zebra do actually force mate females that are carrying a baby and they think it's not theirs. They force mate with them so they can abort the fetus, and so they can sire their young. And if they take over new mares after being spooked and they have to take new mares, if there is a young one that is not theirs, they might actually kill it by kicking it in the forehead so that, you know, they can have their own. I think the zebra is one. I don't know of any other apart from birds, but birds actually, it is, you know, themselves. It's not, you know, an intruder. So I think zebra and lion are the two that I know. Maybe one of my other colleagues might be able to, you know more about that, but I know two only. That's a beautiful view of the Olololo Syria escarpment. You see it there. Remember, it's the westernmost wall of the Mara Game Reserve, and it forms a very good buffer zone and also a boundary between the human habitated area and the conservancy. In those plains there, it's just, you know, there's lots of animals. It's only that we don't see them now. Well, I'm going to stick here to find out who this female is, and while I do that, let's take you to another live location.
Beautiful, thanks Isaac. Hopefully you get to see if you can listen. Isn't that amazing? It's actually another cuckoo we don't often see during the winter. In the summer, came back here. So that's African cuckoo. You know, it will mistake you sometimes. You know, sound is similar to African hoopoe. But this actually doing it continuously, sometimes almost non-stop. And that's how we're sometimes able to tell. But they're similar kind of instrumental compared to these two birds, hoopoe and African cuckoo. They only come around here during the wet season because it's a lot of butterflies feed on larvae of, you know, these butterflies and caterpillar worms and mopani worms, insect. Pretty much they very difficult bird to spot. As you can see there, it's not actually even clear look from our screen, so all you see is just the movement. These birds are one of the birds, sometimes during a hot day, you all hear them calling. And that it's just because many of the birds don't make so much sound when they taking rest when it's too much hot. These birds are able to make that sound. That's how they communicate, but also advertise their territory around. You know, most of the cuckoos are brood parasite. That way, most of them, including Taskless cuckoos and Egrets cuckoos as well, as red-chested cuckoo also, even strapped cuckoos or lavellins. So it's quite a lot of cuckoos, jackpin cuckoos, but you all find them this time of year around here. the instrumental going again, if you can take that just a few moments of your time. Sometimes listen for any. It's amazing. Yeah, indeed, so very cool. So sometimes make that call and wait, stop, and listen for any response. And then, of course, brood parasites, it works this way where this bird, they don't actually build their own nest, but they're all aiming for others, birds, to build a nest and they lay their eggs. And then at the same time, this bird, as a brood parasite, they aim for a specific time when that particular bird belongs to that nest is not around, and they just sneak in there, lay egg, 1 or 2 eggs, sometimes usually 1, and then that way, and then the eggs are only going to be taking care of the different bird, not that cuckoo. So I'm on a southern boundary, checking around for possibly anything else. I haven't gotten a gap back to those lines yet, but I'm sure, hopefully, I'm wishing to go back there just to see what is going to be like. I know they will be lying down. It's extremely now getting warm. So, but for the afternoon, again, it's going to be a very good time for them to be able to, be visited there, since that's not going to be so much of a lot of traffic. So I'm going to be carrying on, checking the boundary while I'm taking you to another live safari.
Back to Tswalo Kalahari. We're back in the vicinity where we had the cheetahs earlier on. It looks like there's been a big troop of baboons going through here, and we think they might have they might have actually chased the cheetahs away. And here's the baboon track. This is being the foot, very elongated at the back. But if you actually come over here, Dave, look at that. It's almost like a human hand. I mean, these primates are just amazing. Look at that thumb over there, and the other digits, the first digit, second digit, third digit, fourth digit, and that being the palm. And obviously, cheetahs would be very wary of a big troop of baboons like that. So I think they must have scared them off. We'll still be searching around and seeing where they went, but this is the general direction where the troop was heading. I'm hoping the cheetahs must have cut across and not went ahead of these baboons. Because this morning they were definitely hunting, so we hope that maybe they would be lucky sometime during the day. It's like solving a mystery here. So let's keep going. Let's see how the puzzle closes off. So we're gonna keep going on.
Well, thank you for coming back in time, because now he's up. Look at him. He's a big boy. Yeah, at this age, at this size, he's big enough to have seen everything that a lion sees and ready for anything and also any challenges. Being 3 of them, at that size, they're not intimidated by any lion, especially if it's those collision with 2 and 1 males. They are not intimidated at all. I think he can hear me, that's why he's looking around. By the way, the previous one was behaving, and also this guy tells me that they're confident enough that nothing is worrying them. remember, with all the scent marking, all the other lions make, does tell them and give them a lot of information, and I think they're confident with the information they have collected to tell them that there's no big coalition here to worry about. The color of the mane also tells me that he's at his prime. Like I said, 8 years or so, gets to be blondish, blackish. Remember, the mane is very useful, helps them, cushion the necks, the ears, and part of, front face while fighting. Acts like a cushion, so it's very, very necessary. I wish he could stand up so you could see his size. He is a massive boy, that one. And I hope, he's going to stay, because then it means we're going to have a new pride. And yeah, nice yawn. Usually when they yawn like that, it's a sign of being restless. Might get up. Yeah, let's see. It looks like he's urging the female to get up. Is he gonna get up? Let's see. Yes. There we go. Are we gonna have a mating? I don't know. Sometimes it's not easy to translate what they're saying, but definitely they are talking lion. I cannot understand it. Are we gonna have some mating? We might. You see his size? He's a big boy. See, underbelly, there is a sagging skin. That is what stretches when they feed, and that's why they can, eat a lot of meat, up to 40 kilograms of meat in one sitting when they haven't eaten. Okay. Did you see that tail? I don't know if I saw my own thing, but it looks like one of the river pride lionesses. She lacks the tip of the tail. And that's very, very interesting, because she had some cubs. Look at that. Yeah, definitely. She lacks the tip of the tail. Looks like she might get up, maybe. No. And I think she's back to sleeping. Yeah, well, there's nothing I can do but to wait here. And that's what I'll do.
While those lions are waiting to mate, we've got all these buffaloes that are just slowly making their way away from the dam now. They've decided that enough swimming, enough water, time to eat the last of the grasses before it gets too hot. And I can tell you it's already blisteringly warm. This is one of the first proper African summer afternoons where the sun is beating down already at not even 9 o'clock. And it must be well over 30 degrees, I'd say. And what we're looking at right now is a female who looks very pregnant. She's got a huge round belly. And now I know buffaloes often look quite round because of the four-chambered stomach being quite large. Lots of moisture in there, but this one is particularly big. So I think she's heavily pregnant. She's probably going to give birth right around, the early, well, maybe not the early part of November, but around mid-November to December time, which will be fantastic. The next generation of buffalo. Oh, what are you doing? That is very odd. You're way too young for that. What are you thinking? That was quite funny. I don't think it was a serious attempt, but certainly practicing. Goodness gracious me. I would almost go so far as to assume that might even be the mother, because it's not a very old buffalo. It's about time that she gave birth again. That was very strange behavior. She doesn't seem particularly perturbed, though. She's taking it in her stride. I guess the life of a female buffalo is quite a tough one, hey? Well, it was interesting. But I wasn't expecting the buffaloes to expend that much energy on such a hot morning. You can see they're searching around all the shady section. There's a buffalo mooing in the background, just like a cow. Deep, rounded bellow. And there's one replying, moo back to you. But over the distances, they've started to spread out. Now, they all clumped together when they came to the water's edge. Now, as they're feeding away, they're starting to spread out a little bit, and so the communication needs to be kept up so that all the members of this particular buffalo family or herd are able to stay relatively close to each other and warn each other if there's any danger. This is quite a cute young buffalo. Well, what a spectacular morning it's been. Hot, but I think relatively successful. So hopefully these buffaloes will continue sticking around here. We're going to definitely come and visit them this afternoon and see what they get up to. There's been a bunch of elephants in the area, and we heard alarm calling earlier, but no luck so far. But you know what? When you've got buffaloes, what else do you need, honestly? Sleeping lions? No, thank you. Well, everyone, the morning safari is coming to a close, but please join us again this afternoon at 3 o'clock when we head out to 6 different locations in the African bush on live safaris to see what else we can find. Remember, we can answer all your questions live, or as many as we can, and just explore the bush together, just like this big, strong buffalo bull. Hopefully, we'll see you all this afternoon.
Why is the Mara special? It's one of the only few places that you can find the annual wildebeest migration. I will still go for